We'll call this meeting of the Craven County Board of Commissioners regular session for Monday, July 15th, 2024 to order. Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yeah, here.
Commissioner Smith? Commissioner Howard?
Here.
Commissioner Hunt?
Here.
Commissioner Mark?
Here.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Here.
Chairman Jones?
Here. Thank you. This morning, ladies and gentlemen, before I ask the county attorney to lead us in prayer and we stand together for the pledge to the American flag, I just want to take a moment. I think all of us, as we have looked at the events of this past weekend, myself and my family, we've been glued to the TV, as many others have, to see the horrific events that have occurred. And one thing that I think has struck me is, you know, in times like this, our country does unite. As divided as we are on issues, at times such as this, we unite. And Board of Commissioners, today we sit under the banner of "In God We Trust," and we sit here in the shadow of the American flag. And so this morning, as we have been blessed with the opportunity to serve the citizens of this county, definitely we should not take for granted of the obligation that the Lord has given to us of service and the opportunity to serve, and that's for everyone in this room. So as this morning, I definitely, as we ask the county attorney to pray, those that have been affected by this, whether the loss of loved ones or being a witness to the events or being harmed by it, let's keep those in our thoughts and prayers this morning. If you will, please let's stand together. I'm going to ask Mr. Grady, our county attorney, to lead us in prayer, and then I would ask you to remain standing for the pledge to the American flag.
O God, the fountain of wisdom, whose will is good and gracious, and whose law is truth, we beseech thee so to guide and bless our commissioners here assembled, that they may make decisions as shall please thee to the glory of thy name and the welfare of your people. Through Jesus Christ our Lord we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, good morning, and we welcome each of you here to the Board of Commissioners meeting, which is your meeting, and to those that may be viewing online, we also welcome you this morning. I would ask for those of us that are in attendance to please let's check our cell phones to make sure they're on silence so they wouldn't disrupt this meeting. We would appreciate it. Commissioners, you have before you your agenda packets. Are there any agenda items you desire to add or to pull from today's agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is any discussion on the motion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Commissioners, this morning before we go into our agenda packet and begin discussion on items, I would like to ask to take chairman's privilege this morning. We're honored to have with us this morning Mr. Chip Chagnon and his wife Linda. Also, there are others I think that are here from the ABC board, as he has been our past chairman of the ABC board for many years. We have Mayor Dred Mitchell, who's the vice chair of that board now. We welcome you, and Vice Chair Booker. Mr. Chagnon recently decided that it was time for him to move on to do other things in the county. And this morning, we want to recognize the service that he has given to the citizens of this county for many years. So I'm going to ask you to come forward, Mr. Chagnon, and at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Mark.
Wilford Chip Chagnon.
I was too young to fight for that.
Dear Mr. Chagnon, the Craven County Board of Commissioners would like to thank you for your service to the Craven County ABC Board for this past 11 years. You have served the citizens of Craven County as an employee member, and because of your service to Craven County's ABC Board is viewed in high regard across the state. Your dedication and service as the Craven County ABC Board Chairman led the ABC Board to achieve several major accomplishments, including renovation and modernizations of 6 stores, construction of Bridgeton's ABC campus, including one of the Art Store 7, liquor by the drink, warehouse and distribution store 4, 12,000 square foot warehouse and distribution center and administrative office. Creation of managing trainee program, which has placed 4 current 7 managers, updating the employee handbook, performance review process, and policies, dubbing full reviews. These achievements show how effective your leadership has been to the citizens of Craven County and how much you have helped in making our county a better place. You will be missed at the ABC Board, and again, we appreciate your service.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Y'all want to have a picture with
Absolutely.
Mr. Chagnon? Okay. Okay.
Shane, you might walk in the middle.
Good.
Yeah.
You want to get a little closer? A little closer? All right.
We're all friends.
Thank you.
Chip, you want to say anything?
I would if you don't mind, sir. Just,
Yes, sir. Go
First and foremost, I want to thank our citizens and friends, because you are our customers of the Craven County ABC Board, so I thank you. Without you and your generous support over the years, we would not been able to do any of the things that we've done. Secondly, I'd like to thank this board, standing and past board, for all the support that they've given us. They've been of one mind over that time. We've shaped a way ahead. And I have to tell you, Mr. Chairman, the smartest thing this board did was to get Mr. Booker on the board. That was a smart move. And I appreciate that. Besides the move that Mr. Mark made when he nominated me. Certainly my board at the ABC, outstanding. We had a great time. And Red's with us this morning to represent them, and also past and present. Sadly, we had a board member just passed, tetanus, Ms. Cook, from Havelock, and she's going to be sorely missed. I'm sure that will come up on the board appointment and will be equal. We've worked over the years, also with the county sheriff, to improve our security, and that program has proved worthwhile. And you know, one of the things that we do at the Craven County ABC Board, besides turn over a lot of money to the finance minister and our people back to the state, the county, we also do a lot of good deeds, if you will. And one of them is working with Chip on the DARE program. We sponsor that program quite a bit, about 90% of it. And then we have other programs that we sponsor as well. So all those things we've done with your support, this board's support, my board's support, church support. And I thank you for it. You made my job very, very easy. Jack, you and your team have not ever done this without that. And believe me, he looks out for every penny that you got, every penny. Yeah, it's been a great ride. Thank you, board members. I appreciate it. God bless. And take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate your service. All right, thank you, Commissioner Mark, for that. All right, item 1 is the consent agenda. You have before you the minutes of the July 1st, 2024 regular session, tax releases and refunds, carts to repairs to vehicle budget amendment, and then the sheriff has a donation for budget amendment. Are there any consent agenda items you desire to pull?
Approve the agenda as is.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, here no discussion. Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Howard, Commissioner Hunt,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker,
Yes.
Chairman Jones.
Yes, thank you. Item 2, this morning we're honored to have with us Miss Andrea Nix, Senior Vice President of Operations and Programs for the Boys and Girls Club of the Coastal Plain. And so we invite you to come forward this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for hosting us this morning. As always, most summers around this time, I'm here to present to you one of our upcoming leaders within our Boys and Girls Club here in New Bern. For those of you who are not familiar with us, I represent the Boys and Girls Club of the Coastal Plain, who serves 7 counties and 17 clubs within Eastern North Carolina. My responsibility is for the clubs here in Craven County, Carteret, and Beaufort County, so 8 of those 17 clubs. But it's always an honor to visit the various county commissioners within my counties to give these young people an opportunity to present themselves to you and then visit with you at the NC Commissioners Summit. This year we have a young lady, a rising freshman for New Bern High, and this is her first public speech of many for this year. She's a little nervous, but outstanding young lady who's been in the club for 8 of the 9 years that we've been here in New Bern. I just want to take a moment before introducing Jordan to say thank you, sir, from the ABC board. We at the Boys and Girls Club are the recipient of funding for our Smart Moves program, and we are very, very happy of the support that they've given us, and also on behalf of all of the New Bern and Havelock kids here in Craven County, thank you for the support that you as commissioners have given us. I'm going to turn it over to Avery Jordan, who is, Jordan Avery, I do that all the time, who's going to present herself and tell you her story and about herself.
Good morning, Miss Avery. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
All right, welcome.
Hi, my name is Jordan Avery. I am 14 and I'll be a freshman this upcoming school year at New Bern High School. I am a JV cheerleader at New Bern High School and a competitive gymnast at New Bern Gymnastics. My favorite subject in school is social studies because I love learning about history. I love to cook and to learn about cooking different recipes for people to try. I am interested in going to culinary school after graduation or pursuing a career in gymnastics. If I pursue my gymnastics career, I want to go to West Virginia University for college since they have the best gymnastics program. But if I decide to pursue a career in cooking, I want to go to Johnson & Wales University to study the art of cooking to become a chef. I also love listening to music and singing, and I love dancing. I also love doing makeup. Lastly, I love spending quality time with my family and friends. Thank you for supporting my Boys and Girls Club.
All right, great, great. So one of the things I think that always we do as a board is we have a photo op with the individual and who will go to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Convention, and this year is Miss Avery. So let's go down once again if we could and just have a picture.
You have to run back to some campus.
Thank y'all for being here this morning.
She did good.
Yes. She did very good.
14 years.
Yes, she did. She was very poised.
All right, Commissioners, item 3 is the Piedmont Health Services and Sickle Cell Agency presentation this morning. We're honored to have with us, I think, Mr. Brian Ellerby and Ms. Marcia Newsom. So we welcome you and invite you to the podium. Good morning.
Good morning. Hope you all are doing well this morning.
Good.
Thank you for you all for inviting us down to the community. And we are from Piedmont Health Services Sickle Cell Agency. We are a community based organization, and our organization has served the North Carolina community since 1970. Our mission, I think we got the slideshow. Yes. Next one. There we go. Okay, thank you. Our mission is to provide outreach, education, screening, and case management for people with high-risk health problems. And our vision is to be a leading community-based preventative health and outreach agency for all people. We are a community-based organization, and we're contracted through the state North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services to provide sickle cell screening services and care coordination services to 19 North Carolina counties. And sickle cell is a disease that impacts people through the cellular structure of their red blood cells. And as we move into our presentation, I would like for you all to hear a client's perspective of how sickle cell has affected her life and how we have helped her. So you can go to the next slide, please, and click on the, yes.
Hi, my name is Sharon. I am 26 years old and I'm sickle cell anemia. More specifically, I have sickle beta thalassemia. Living with sickle cell has its challenges, but it is making me strong and very again today. And living with sickle cell is the reason why I am currently in school to become a nurse and I'm with others like me. With my type of sickle cell, I haven't had any blood transfusions, luckily, and I haven't been hospitalized for this, but I have been hospitalized for something. I've had pain, and I've had those days where I don't want to get up, I don't want to do anything in the house, I don't want to get up, and I push myself. And it's more than strength for sure, and it's a moving sickle cell. But until now, I've had more pain now than I've had before. And my doctor told me as you get older, you get more pain than in a particular spot. My particular spot is more with leg, so unfortunately I've had more pain with that. So with more pain, and even with sickle cell, you have medications, a lot of them. Bacteria, folic acid, I need a lot of medication. When a lot of medications comes, need a lot of medications. I know that there's been times where I couldn't afford my medication, and the agency was comfortable with me where I was able to get my medication the day I needed it. Also, through the agency, I was introduced to the sickle cell summer camp, where I met amazing people that are like me, and that I still talk to this day. I'm still friends with a lot of them. And it's filled with the most amazing people. And I'll never forget that. The sickle cell agency though is genuinely filled with the most amazing people. They're so sweet, they're so warm, they're so kind, they're just so helpful. And honestly, I never feel like I can't go to them for anything because I know that I can because I feel comfortable and I know that they will be there, they will do what I ask them to do and they will make sure that I'm good. I can really go to them for anything. I can text my Christopher Nova, I can call his Monica, and I get a response right away. I know that it's to the point where they'll stop what they're doing to assist me. And it's a great feeling because a lot of people around the world, in healthcare and hospitals and stuff like that, you don't get that kind of treatment. So I know they always go above and beyond to make sure that I'm good. They reach out to me to make sure I'm okay. And they are great. And I'm forever grateful for them. I have been living with them my whole life and I've never had an issue. I've never felt like I couldn't go talk to anybody. Like not even just my face, like I can talk to anybody and they.
So, sickle cell disease has a big impact on people. And if you go to the next slide for me, please. And one of the things that we do every year is the sickle cell summer camp, and that camp is coming up at the end of this month. And the goal of the camp is to foster the social, emotional, and personal growth of children with sickle cell disease by providing a variety of fun and exciting camp activities. Our camp is offered free of charge to children in North Carolina with sickle cell disease. And like I said, we serve 19 counties. We are a community-based organization through the state Department of Health and Human Services. And we were recently told about 2 months ago that the number of sickle cell cases in the state now has gone from 4,000 that they would use that the state's office used as an estimate about 10 years ago to 7,000 now. So the number of cases has increased. The majority of the people are uninsured, low income, people being impacted, they are jobless. So we serve as that organization to help coordinate services. So I'm going to turn it over to my boss, to our program manager, Marsha, and she's going to give more specific details about the sickle cell services that we provide.
Good morning. I'm Marsha. I am one of the program directors for the 4 offices and 19 counties. So this is my area. My office is in Goldsboro and Jacksonville. And if you heard that, we don't have an office in New Bern, but we would like to have a presence here. We serve the area, we serve the clients here and their families, but we don't have a presence here. So that's what we're kind of going for. In North Carolina, every child is tested at birth. Well, all states across this great nation. All children are tested at birth. When they do the little heel stick for other metabolic disorders, they're also testing for sickle cell. So that's how we get the majority of our clientele, is through newborn screening, the state office, and then it trickles down to us, for example, if that family lives in New Bern. So then we start a whole process. We follow them from birth until throughout their entire lifespan if they live in our county. We do genetic counseling so that families know exactly what they're dealing with, what they're faced with, what the ramifications are if they choose to have another child. We do case management. Like I said, we work with them all the time. You just heard the young lady singing our praises about how wonderful we are. Well, the truth of the matter is there are a lot of people right here in Craven County who live in silos. You guys know that it's rural, a lot of it is rural, and we have to also try to serve that population. Mr. Ellaby talked about summer camp. Next slide, please. And this is kind of how, this is the numbers that were served. So, individuals born with sickle cell disease, we have to serve them throughout their entire lifespan, but we also have to serve people born with sickle cell trait. It's inherited. You can't catch it. There's no other way to get it. So we serve both. And right now on our 8-county catchment area, there's 3 of us, myself and 2 other case managers. So we really want to try to improve that some type of way. Like I said, we come down here, we just drove from, he came from Raleigh, picked me up in Goldsboro. It's a long drive, but we do the best that we can. We work very closely with the teaching hospital. For us in this area, it's East Carolina. We work very closely with them to provide these services. Next slide, please. So you can read this. There's 3 of us. We serve 8 counties, as I've already stated. And really what we really try to do is to foster independence and advocacy within the families. We can't do it all. 3 people can't do all of that work, but we try to teach them how to advocate for themselves. That's the whole thing. That's it in a nutshell. Next slide. And that's the 2 offices and the 8 counties that we serve. So you can see they're all around Craven, but we're talking about Craven County. And just to let you know, out of the 8 counties, Craven, Onslow, and Wayne County are our most heavily populated with individuals with sickle cell disease and sickle cell trait. They are very heavy counties. We spend a lot of time down here, but we don't have a presence here. Next slide, please. So these are the things, this is what we get requests for nearly every single day. Housing, transportation, medical, and I'm sure you've heard some of these before in other conditions. Many of them, we're getting better. Like I said, we try to teach and foster them to be independent, to go to school, or whatever their skill set is. Like the young lady wanted to be, you know, she's into culinary. That, of course. An outside in the weather job will not work for a person with sickle cell disease. So we try to steer them based on their aptitude and what they're interested in into a career. But oftentimes it may not work for them the way it works for some of us. I know specifically a young man who just graduated college, got a job, but he was never there. He was always out. He was always in the hospital. And I say always, literally, he was in the hospital more than he was at work. Well, no job can sustain that for any period of time. So until we can get him on a trajectory through the hospital and us and everybody else that works with him, so that he learns how to manage, hopefully, his disease condition, or it will get better, he will hopefully be able to one day sustain a job that he won't have to need all these types of things. But right now we get calls all the time. We go to schools, we go to the hospitals, we assist with medication, et cetera, et cetera. So this, what we're asking for is to have a presence here at least on a weekly basis with the staff that we have right now. Okay, so next slide. Okay, we're at Q&A. I think I hopefully did not thoroughly confuse you.
All right, commissioners, are there any questions from the board? I know today was an opportunity for us to learn about your program, and that's what we discussed during our budget process, and we were going to receive it as information, and definitely we'll have further conversations. Our health director, Mr. Scott Harrelson, is here. I don't know if y'all have connected in the past or not, but definitely. Okay, all right. But definitely we want to, you know, we'll be talking to Scott and having him as a liaison between us and be in discussion with you, Vice Chair.
Yeah, I do have one question, and that relates to just the knowledge of this. Is it considered a disease or a condition?
It's a disease.
Disease. Is it hereditary?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
that's the only way you can get sickle cell trait.
Okay, so it's passed on from generation to generation. Okay, that was my one question. I didn't know.
Dates back thousands, hundreds of years.
Yes.
Particularly thought to have originated in and around the African continent, but not just African Americans or blacks are affected. Anybody from a hot climate around the Mediterranean particularly, and we have people right here in Craven County who are Asian descent, Latina, what have you, that are affected by sickle cell disease. And it is inherited. There's hundreds of different types of hemoglobin. Mr. Harrelson will probably say more about that, but yeah, it is strictly inherited.
Okay.
Commissioner Mitchell?
The heel stick that identifies babies with sickle cell disease,
Mm-hmm.
does that also identify babies who are carrying the sickle cell trait?
Yes, yes ma'am.
So both go into your program at that point?
Yes, they do. They just go on different trajectories.
Right, different trajectories,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Exactly. Yeah, we get them all. We did bring some little packets that are in your boxes or somewhere floating around here that have some more specific information. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us.
Commissioner Moore?
What is the mortality rate?
Good question. Okay, so when I started a few decades ago, the mortality rate was reportedly 20. Okay, it has really, really changed, as Mr. Ellaby just stated. The CDC did a very in-depth study in the state of North Carolina, and there was estimated 4,000 persons with sickle cell disease in the state. Now it's 7,000. So now people are living much, much longer. I would say, oh gosh, 50, 40, 50, and on up. We have some people who are in their 70s, 80s. Not a whole lot, but we do have people. And that's what our goal is, to try to help them live a high quality of life, just like we all do. So yeah, that's what it is now.
The gentleman had mentioned that you went up in the rate over the last 10 years. Is that part of that due to the population increase?
That could be, the state is studying that, what's driving it, but it's probably to do with the population increase of the state and everything. And North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking into that, and they're also going to the governor and the state legislature to see how they can also help enhance things, but still not there yet. Yes, sir.
It's good to know that this program is extending many of these people's
And to
lives.
piggyback on what Mr. Ellaby said and your question, a lot of it has to do with newborn screening, which we didn't have 30 years ago.
Right.
Children are identified early. We get them into the medical centers. They engage with us and to try to keep them, because, and penicillin is a big, big, big thing. That's an international requirement. Well, should put children on penicillin.
Yes.
That helps them to live longer because they don't die from infections. Okay, that could be potentially threatening. So that's part of the reason. And people are getting much better and quality care. We do work with public health. We're part of public health. And so, yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And we believe strongly that if we can help every citizen in the community be stronger, that community is stronger.
Absolutely.
That's our goal.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yeah, I attended a Trillium symposium not too long ago right here in Craven County. It was nearly an all-day event that Trillium hosted, and they do include all of these sickle cell treatments that you guys spoke about for their patients now in their expanded tailored health plan, to include housing and food vouchers and transportation aid and so forth. And so I think between your organization and our county health department and Trillium, hopefully everybody's needs are being met.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have anything? Not. Thank you again for
Thank you all.
taking your time to come today.
Have a great day now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody take care.
All right, item 4 this morning, an environmental health presentation. I'm going to turn it over to the vice chair. He serves on our health board to make this introduction.
Okay. Good morning. I'm on, as the chairman just said, I'm on the board of health, and we meet monthly. And a couple of months ago, we had a presentation that I thought was would be interesting to everybody on this board. We all know we have a health department. We don't understand necessarily what all goes on there. So we have 2 young ladies going to come today and are going to enlighten us. And so they are Margaretta, not Margarita, but Margaretta Slagle, and I should have my glasses on, Devin Lennon. So you ladies, come on forth and take over. Margaretta is coming first.
Good morning.
I think it's going to be Devin, but here we are. Good morning. Next slide. My name is Margaretta Slagle. I am the Food Lodging Institution Supervisor. I've been the supervisor for the past 2.5 years. Today I'm just going to kind of go over our 23-24 performance, a little bit about our program standards, some other grants we received, and some goals for this fiscal year that we're in. Next slide, please. So the food and lodging section oversees the regulatory compliance inspections for food service establishments, child care centers, school buildings, local confinements, institutions such as nursing homes, public swimming pools, and tattoo artists. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So last fiscal year, we have over 611 establishments within the county. They're all divided into 1 time a year, 2, 3, and 4 time a year for inspections. So our food service is comprised of about 383, and that includes fast food, full service, meat markets, institutional food service, school lunchrooms, and other departments such as our seafood markets that fall under our county ordinance. Next slide, please. So for the first time since 2018, we received 100% compliance for our food service inspections. And we conducted about 1,058 inspections. In October of 2023, we went through a legislative change for our Category 4 establishments, which changed them from 4 times a year for inspections to 3 times a year with 1 educational visit. So that's kind of what the other one is. So that's 917 for our regulatory compliance inspections, and we conducted 141 educational visits. Next slide, please. So getting into our program standards. Next slide, please. The goal of the program standards is a voluntary program that we enrolled in about 2018, and that is to help us enhance our food and lodging program to identify gaps and provide extra educational visits or programs that we can go in and help our food establishments come into compliance to help ensure food safety and reduce the number of foodborne illness outbreaks within the county. Next slide, please. These are the 9 standards that we strive to meet. In your packets, I kind of broke them down into what each one is looking for. So we don't have, there's no order to go in. We just pick which ones we want to achieve this, the year that we're working in, and kind of go forward with that. Next slide, please. So a little bit about our history. 2008 is when we first enrolled in the program. During that first self-assessment period, which is 2008 to 2013, they said they met standards 1, 5, 7, and 9. The standards were left untouched until 2021 when I came into the program. And then we conducted our self-assessment period 2, which no standards were met. At that time, I was just really learning about the program and getting my feet in the door and trying to figure out what the program was, essentially. So then in 2022, I applied for grant funding through NEHA and the FDA Retail Flexible Funding Model, and I received $17,763, which I used for equipment just to build our program up so we can provide better services. And then last fiscal year, or in that fiscal year, we met standards 1, 3, and 7. Next slide, please. So self-assessment period 3, which is what we're in now. I completed the self-assessment at the beginning of this year, and I identified that we've met standards 1, 3, 6, and 7. I have received $41,500 for this calendar year through that same grant funding. So every year we apply for new grant funding. We are also mentoring 5 jurisdictions across the county, or across the country. Island County, Washington, Skagit County Public Health in Washington State, Milton Health District, and North Andover Health Department in Massachusetts, and Pickaway County Public Health in Ohio. 2 of those counties came to Craven County last month, and we kind of broke down each of the program standards, helped them identify gaps in their programs. We took them out to regulatory inspections with us and kind of showed them how we work in Craven County. And then my program specialist went out to Washington and provided those services, the same kind of thing, to them in Washington. And last week, another one of my staff went to Massachusetts and kind of met with their counties and kind of did the same thing and tried to help them figure out which standards they wanted to meet. And then that chart is just a helpful tool that the FDA provides to us to keep track of where we're at within each element of the 9 standards that we're going to meet. And it just shows what we've met. Next slide, please. And this is a breakdown of the funding that we have received for this calendar year. $17,500 was for a development-based grant, and that's just for us to use to support our program. And then $24,000 is for the mentorship add-on, which is how we're traveling around the country. Next slide, please. So this is a breakdown of how I've spent the money. The $17,500, we've provided a $5,000 paid internship this year. It's ending at the end of this month. So our intern came in and he is conducting risk factor studies in the establishments right now. So at the end of this year, standard 9, we'll be able to submit that for a verification audit, and hopefully if everything goes well, we can say we've met that standard. And what that will allow us to do is really identify the gaps and the differences between your franchises and your mom and pop shops and try to bring them all into the same level. So we're treating everybody the same and giving everybody the same opportunities. $5,500 is supporting our binder program, salary reimbursements, etc. And we are maintaining standards 1, 3, and 7. We're continuing to work on standard 9 with that, and we are going to meet by the end of this year 2, 4, 5, and 6 in addition to 1, 3, and 7. And we are in the beginning stages of developing multi-language guidance booklets, kind of handouts that we can provide to the non-English speaking establishments. And $7,000 will be used for employee training. So our ACTO conference is going on right now. 2 of my staff are traveling to Pennsylvania and going to attend that conference. Last month, 2 of my staff went to the ACTO was in Michigan, NEHA is this week in Pennsylvania. $24,000 of the mentorship budget is mentoring the 5 jurisdictions. We held the in-person meeting, traveled to Washington, Massachusetts, and at the end of October, there's an end-of-year mentorship meeting in St. Louis, which I will be asking to attend. Next slide, please. So our Food Safety Advisory Council, this falls under Standard 7. This was an idea after we were mentees in that first year that we received funding. We developed this council as a way to bring operators and business into the health department. We can have open discussions, kind of hear their needs, kind of share with them what we're doing and what we want to do and the services we want to provide. Our next meeting is July 25th at 10 o'clock in the health department. Next slide, please. And then overall grant funding and projects, these are our other grants that we received this year. Next slide, please. So in addition to the NEHA and FDA grant, I applied for the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance grant, and we were awarded the $5,000 grant. I'm using that to get one of my staff as a CPO instructor. And then with that, they'll be able to provide CPO classes, which is a certified pool operator, to all the operators in the county, which is a requirement under the rules that somebody is licensed to operate the pools. So far, everybody in the county is, but we see a lot of turnover every year. Usually we have a new pool operator on the applications. So for us to being able to provide these classes will be great, and we can open it up to surrounding counties as well. Our ultimate goal is to purchase educational materials on water safety and provide those classes in our elementary schools. That's kind of our target right now, is to provide it there, and then maybe in the future expand it to the middle and high schools. Last year we did have one drowning in the county. It was nothing pool safety related. They were able to bring the child back, but we don't want that. So we want to really stress those elementary school kids about water safety and the dangers that could happen around swimming pools. Next slide, please. In addition to the FDA and NEHA grants and the program standards, we developed an emergency power loss policy. So we all know we get hurricanes in North Carolina, and since I took over and learned a lot about the program and the last hurricane we had, there's nothing in place in the establishments. They're just kind of do whatever they want. So I developed this 11-page policy. It breaks down what to do in the event of a power loss, whether it's a hurricane, other natural disaster, fire, just regular power outage. So in the event that they lose powers over 4 hours, we like them to call us. But in those 4 hours, it breaks down what they should do. So we get them all to sign this policy, which will give us the ability to go in and help them. If they're over 4 hours or at that 3.5 hour mark, we can go in and help them out. Next slide, please. These are our food safety management binders that we were able to purchase with the grant funding. So these are being introduced into every single food establishment throughout the county. Inside the binders, we have our employee health policy, our vomit and diarrhea cleanup plan, the cleanup poster, a lot of documents that we see as kind of similar audit, like non-compliance in every establishment. We put it in this binder to try to help them and provide the materials all in one place. Before this binder, we were seeing the papers being lost. We'd go in, we'd hand out a stack of papers, they would just disappear. So now this binder houses all of that. We also, every 6 months, we introduce a food safety flyer, and that also goes along with kind of what we're seeing as similar non-compliant items. And we just make the flyer, kind of provide that education and try to eliminate the non-compliance. And then we have other handouts that we put in there throughout the year that we kind of get or create in the county. Next slide, please. And then our goals for the end of this year and into next fiscal year are to meet standards 2, 4, 5, and 9. I want to apply for next year's funding grant through the NEHA and FDA. And we're going to complete our mentorship program and hopefully attend the end of year mentorship meeting. Next slide, please. In an overview of the year, our average score across all the establishments was a 96.8%. We issued 953 A's, which is a score of 100 to 90. We issued 11 B's, which is an 89.9 through an 80, and 1 C, which is a 79.9 through a 70, and we had 1 permit revocation, which is a score less than a 70, but we only go by half points, so 69.5. We issued 37 food service permits, 15 limited food service permits, 17 transitional food service, and 55 temporary food service permits. Next slide, please. And then going along, standard 2 is our regulatory trained retail staff. As of right now, we have 4 staff that have become standardized officers, and by the end of this month, we'll have 5 staff that become FDA standardized officers. And once again, I'm very proud of this. We are 100% compliant for our service. Next slide, please. Any questions?
Commissioner Mitchell.
Food service permits, what's the difference between temporary, transitional, what are the different, what do the categories actually mean?
So a temporary permit is kind of what you see at MomFest, those vendors that are selling food for a short period of time will go out, issue those permits, and they're just for that event.
Right.
A transitional permit is the sale of one business to another, or one owner to another owner. Or if one establishment has closed down, we're still at 365 days, somebody else comes in, rents the space, we can go in and issue a transitional. We just make a punch list, they can open up right away. They have 6 months to bring all the non-compliant items that we have identified into compliance, and then they can just operate right away. A full permit, they have to go through the permitting process. They can't open up until they're 100% compliant with everything.
Thank you.
All right, other questions? Commissioner Howard.
Mrs. Legel, you said after 4 hours of power loss, you go in and you guys help out the establishment. What is that? What is exactly does that
So if they follow our policy and they're making temperature logs, so our cold holding temperature is 41 degrees. If they are proven to us that they have maintained 41 degrees that whole 4 hours, then we can continue to work with them to keep that food. If they're in the 70-degree range, 50-degree range, then we may ask for product disposal.
I like the binders also. How do you verify that employees are reading that binder? I mean, is that up to the management there?
That's up to the management. We provide the tools and hope that is being utilized, but there's 6 of us and several hundred establishments. But we do our best. We're in there as much as we can be without bothering them too much, but we try.
Well, and I really appreciate what you guys do. That's why I asked the question. of all the things government does. I think, keeping people safe through food inspections. And I have family from other states that come in and they're like, we love these scores as you walk. They don't have them in other places.
It's been eye-opening going to other states and seeing. We always get the comment, you would destroy our establishments.
Yeah.
So North Carolina definitely is up there with the requirements.
My in-laws come here and they're like, oh, what does that mean, Chad? I'm like, oh, that's pretty good, or that's not great. And so we appreciate that.
Yeah, I would just, my comment in conclusion is that I like the fact that they're not just going in and trying to gig people for what they're doing wrong, but the whole mentality that department has is how can we help these folks run their business in a safe way so we don't have people getting sick. And when you start talking about food trucks and Mumfest and all the stuff where food is served in our county, not to mention hotels and on and on and on, they've got a big task, and it's an important one. So I'm very thankful for what they do.
Any comments down here?
I was just kind of, thank you for coming. I learned a lot. I appreciate it a lot.
Commissioner Smith.
I thank you as well. I do have a question. You said that you visit 4 times a year. You visit every establishment 4 times a year, 3 times to inspect and 1 to train.
The ones that identified, so there's a process, cook, cool, reheat, cool, kind of cold hold, hot hold. Those establishments that are identified as having more risk to them, those are the ones we go in 3 times a year.
And so if a person gets a C, they're more likely to get another visit quickly.
Yeah, so anything on a B or a C, they have the option to call us for a reinspection, and we'll go in there re-inspect in hopes that they've taken that first inspection, made some improvements.
What would cause a person to get a C?
A lot of risk factor violations. So no managerial control, hand washing, just probably non-existent. Temperature violations, so cold holding, hot holding, cooking temperatures, reheating temperatures, along with some other.
Again, this is good information, and thank you very much.
Saying the same thing everybody else said, but I mean, I appreciate your education to the establishments. I think they need that. Oftentimes I've been in a restaurant in the rural part of the county and somebody comes in and it's more intimidating, I think, for them. And to have somebody that's willing to have a discussion and maybe give you a heads up prior to of the things that you need to do. For the meetings that you're having, like you're going to have one in a few weeks, are you having pretty good participation in that?
We get our several operators come in. The public, it's open to the public. Nobody from the public has attended so far. But we continue to post on the Health Department Facebook page, and eventually I would like to see it grow, but yeah, so far it's been pretty good.
That's a great resource. All right, Commissioners, any other comments, questions? Not. Thank you for what you do. We appreciate it. All right, and then next we have Ms. Devon. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My presentation is just going to be about our program, how to apply, things like that, just general information essentially and what we do.
Find it.
Well, none of us can help Rob because we don't know what he's doing. So if he don't figure it out, we.
I mean, I can just follow if I don't have it. Okay.
Do you need a few minutes, Robbie? Just 1 minute. I tell you what, let's take a 5-minute recess and we'll come back, okay? All right, board, we'll come back to order and we'll turn it back over to Ms. Devon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Devin Lennon. I am the Environmental Health Supervisor for our on-site water protection department here in Craven County. Our office is located within the health department. If you're ever looking for us, just right through the front door, first window on the right. So essentially, we provide regulatory oversight for subsurface on-site wastewater systems to residences and businesses, places that aren't served by a municipal sewer system. Okay. Oh, you can go back to that other one. Okay, so as far as when we begin, I kind of wanted to start there as how we train our employees. We all begin as interns. So basically, our on-site water protection program, upon hiring, you do some onboarding activities, like get a general understanding of the job, and then we send you to a mandatory 2-week training in Raleigh, where you're learning through the environmental health branch of the NCDHHS Division of Public Health. So state employees are actually providing training to our employees. So when they return, we have experienced field staff who take those people out, train them on soil evaluations, how to interpret the soil, how to draw house site plans to scale, and how to inspect septic systems. And that goes into a mock portfolio that is then turned back into the state. And then they will take a written exam, and upon passing, they will spend about a week out in the field with the state regional soil scientists, and upon realizing they're prepared and they're thoroughly trained, that person becomes an authorized agent of the state. Go to the next slide, please. Okay, so it all begins with our improvement permit process, and right now all of our permits, our applications and fees are processed through the Planning and Inspections Department. That's also on News Boulevard next to the Water Department. We have a couple gentlemen here. So any residence, business, or place of public assembly must have an approved wastewater system. So like I said, municipal sewer or a subsurface wastewater system. So you start with your improvement permit application. So whenever you want to make an improvement to your property, that's relocating a structure and putting it on your land or starting new construction, you'll start with the improvement permit application. So we will ask that you include in your application a site plan. So if it's for a residence, include dimensions of the house, the number of bedrooms or people living in the house, because that's going to produce more wastewater. Things like your proposed water supply type, whether you're having a private drinking water well or public water, will have different setbacks to those, and the location of where you think your water meter and water line is going to be along those lines. For a business, we would require, if it's retail, maybe the square footage of your retail space. If it's going to be a restaurant, maybe the amount of seats and employees you're going to have. And then we will process your application and perform the site visit. That's when we're going to have our environmental health specialist, that's our job title. We go out and we evaluate your soil, and then we're going to check its suitability based off the following site features, which is like topography, landscape position, soil characteristics such as the texture and the structure of the soil, the wetness, like maybe where your water table is, restrictive horizons, and the amount of available space for the septic system. And the result of this evaluation is either going to be the issuance of a 5-year permit, so that's the minimum it's valid for, or the soils are found to be unsuitable and you'll be issued a letter of denial. So the next slide, please. Okay, so the soil evaluation. We no longer put water in a hole. We don't do the perk test. We haven't done the perk test in over 40 years, so people get confused when you go out there and they're like, how come you aren't pouring water in the hole and watching it drain? So right now we do field observations. We don't do any lab samples, things like that. So essentially you should have a result by the end of the meeting on site with us. So we use an auger, that's our main tool. I just kind of included soil layers here just so you can see what we're digging through. It's about 48 inches below the natural grade is what we're evaluating at a minimum. Some of us might use a longer auger if we have to go deeper. And essentially, we are doing field tests that I have on here that it determines an LTAR, so that's just a long-term acceptance rate. So how quickly is this square foot of soil going to allow wastewater to drain through it by the gallons? So essentially the highest number we could give it is a 1.2. That would be for a sandy soil, because if you think about water is going to drain very quickly through a sandy soil. And then clay soil is going to have at the lowest a 0.1. So clay drains very slowly. We're using this number along with other field tests to determine the length of your drain lines, how large your system's going to be. So if you have a lot of clay on your property, you're going to have a really large septic system with a lot of drain lines, and sand, it might be very small. So other field tests that we do is we're physically trying to form a ribbon with the soil. The longer the ribbon, the more clay. We'll look at the color. We have like a booklet. It's a Munsell color chart. I don't know if you ever took any science classes in college, but they might have covered, like earth science probably covered a Munsell color book. And that color identification is going to show us how well oxygenated your soil is and show us where your seasonal high water table might fluctuate to in periods of heavy rainfall events, so maybe like a tropical storm or a hurricane. So if you think about it, if you have water and your drain lines are in that water, your wastewater is going to go up and not down. You want you to be able to flush your toilets every time it rains, or else what's the point? So, and plasticity and stickiness observations, these are all just contributing to that LTAR loading rate that we're assigning your septic system, and we're just plugging it into a math equation in order to determine your linear footage.
Excuse me.
All right, next slide, please. Okay, so once you receive your improvement permit, you can begin applying for your construction authorization permit. So essentially your improvement permit, it might be conditioned, and that's why we have this 3-step process: your improvement permit, your construction authorization, and your final operating permit. At the county, we only charge fees for your improvement permit and your construction authorization. Your final inspection, you just call us when you're ready and we come out and check it. It's incorporated into these fees. So it's going to be essential for getting your actual building permits and relocating your structures. So you'll need a construction authorization for your building permits, but most importantly, in order to construct the septic system. So it's just, you might have to meet conditions prior to getting this, such as provide us the dimensions of the house, have everything locked in place, let us know where your drinking water well is going to be, so it could be X amount of feet from it, and you're able to get your septic installer to install the system and then call us for a final inspection. We make sure it maintains compliance with whatever conditions we put on it and just our standard that every septic system has to meet. And then it should typically be one site visit, but more complex systems, such as ones that have a pump, that have electrical and mechanical components, we might have to do multiple inspections on it before you can receive your final operating permit, which is essentially just going to allow you to occupy your home. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'll go back to that first slide with the improvement permit. We do the site evaluation, and let's say your property is found to be unsuitable per the soils. So what happens is the applicant receives a letter of denial, and the letter of denial is going to go through a few options, and I always tell the applicant to read this letter very carefully because it might not be the end of the road. So some alternative options that are going to be mentioned is, well, it also includes the reason why your site's being denied. If the applicant wasn't there, we of course, typically we like to contact them first to let them know they'll be receiving a letter. So some alternative options are they can file a written request for an informal review of the denial, which can be done either by our state regional soil scientists will come out and review the soils, try to find something suitable, or you can have an in-house informal review conducted by the supervisor, or luckily for us, we do have a soil scientist on staff that performs all of our informal reviews. The other option is hiring a private consultant. So this is a great option for larger tracts of land that require hours upon days potentially to evaluate things that we're not equipped for at the local level. So if someone who has a really large property that maybe we only got to 5 acres of it and they want the other 25 evaluated, they could have a private consultant try to find something suitable. That would be including a licensed soil scientist, professional engineer, licensed geologist. They can either find a suitable spot and direct you back to the health department, and then we could issue a permit based off their findings, or they have private permitting options where they can actually issue private permits. So things that they do beyond what we do, and I won't get into as much because I'm not a private consultant, but maybe they'll send off a lab sample to get the specific clay percentage of the soil, or if it was denied based off of like expansive clay mineralogy, they might develop improvement plans such as, you need more drainage because you have more of just like a landscape issue. The final option that they have that has to be requested within 30 days of receipt of the denial letter is a formal appeal. So essentially, they will file the formal appeal to the administrative office in Raleigh, and the state regional soil scientist conducts a review of the property, and then that information will be used in court. So it is a very, we try to get people to go private first and then go through the formal appeal process, but that's why it's good to just read the letter in detail. Okay, next slide, please. We also have a private drinking water well program. So this is just when you apply to construct a well, we're going to do a site visit. We're going to make sure it doesn't encroach on any existing or future septic systems, buildings, foundations, and then we're going to look for other sources of contamination so that we can site a good place for your well. We'll issue a well construction permit, and then the driller can come out, drill the well. We're not present for the drilling, but they will contact us when they are grouting the well, and then we will witness the grout. There are options for them to do it without us there, but they still have to give us a 24-hour notice so that we can be present if we're available. Afterward, we'll return to inspect the wellhead, make sure it's in compliance, and then we will issue a certificate of completion. The well can go into use, and that's when we will take a well sample for the homeowner. So the well sample is just the bacteriological, so we do the total coliform and the E. coli sample, and then we do inorganic, nitrate, nitrite, and then all of those we might recommend, hey, it's positive, you have to rechlorinate or disinfect your well again, or replace hardware, say if you have like lead present, and if we can determine what the issue is. So the sample is not for compliance, so it's not going to hold up a permit, and so the homeowner is technically not obligated to take any action. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm done with what we do, but I just wanted to quickly mention that we do have an environmental lab located in the health department. So if you have questions about this portion, I'll have our chemistry technician's contact information on the last slide. So we are a state-approved public health laboratory. We have been since 1991. We maintain 100% accuracy, and we process compliance and non-compliance samples for public water systems and private drinking water wells. The compliance samples are really just to meet EPA standards and state regulations. So those include what I mentioned before, the bacteriological testing is the compliance, and the non-compliance is your HPC, which is the heterotrophic plate count. The non-compliance is how long has this water been sitting in this water line? Does it need to be flushed? Has it been stagnant for too long? That's why it's not an EPA standard. So The sampling is going to be based on population size, so we always get the same frequency for our public water systems, but it might, depending on population, you might get multiple samples from that area. And some of the accounts for public water systems that we have are with Craven, First Craven, Havelock, and Pamlico. And you can pull up the next slide. And so Pam French, she's our chemistry technician. She's been doing the lab work. She was with the city of New Bern, so she has over 40 years of experience with being a chemistry technician. And I just have my information up here, and our health director, John Stuckey, who's also a licensed soil scientist. So if you ever had any questions that you can't think of now, then please call me or email me whenever.
All right, commissioners, you have any questions?
Yeah, I have one question. How many feet would you have to go down before you hit, for a well, before you hit water?
So we do have like a static water level that around here at the coast, you're gonna hit potentially within like 5 to 8 feet. But in order for it to be like a potable water, they want you to drill down to an aquifer. So I think commonly the shallowest I've seen around here is maybe like 115 foot, and then some parts of the county might be like 220 foot. So it ranges, but.
Do we have any regulation? Let's say you have a community where there are homes in there, and now you build a whole bunch of new homes, which generally will lower the pressure of the water coming out of your fountain.
Right.
Do we have any rules on that?
So I know I don't deal with like the public water supply so much, just the private. So I think like maybe for a reason like that might encourage some people to have a private water well that's not shared, and that way you don't have to worry about multiple connections. But as far as the public water goes and the pressure advisories, that would probably be a great question for Pam French.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Smith.
Good. I know that you said you work with the health department, is that correct? And my question is, with Chad, you mentioned getting certificates of inspection.
Right.
Do you work with his department as well? Because I think he issues, I don't know this.
Yeah.
But yeah. So how does this work together?
So they process our applications and fees over at planning and inspections, and then that's just so they can make sure people aren't like building a structure and they don't have a wastewater system, so then they'll get directed to us.
Okay.
So our buildings are side by side, but we just collaborate with them all the time. I'm still a county employee, but with environmental health, so we don't work under in the same department.
I see. But you do work with the same.
Yeah.
We work together.
We talk.
Thank you.
All right, commissioners, any other questions, comments?
Good presentation.
Great presentation. Thank you for the information. Thank you for being here. Thank you both. We appreciate that. All right, departmental matters, item 5, we have the first is planning. Mr. Jason Frederick, our assistant planning director.
Two sharp young ladies.
Very.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
Thanks, Margaretta.
Thank you.
Devin, thank you.
I have 2 items on the agenda today for your consideration. Right. We have Durgantown Village and Hickory Run at River Trace Phase 2. Right. So Durgantown Village is a final plat for you. Property is owned by Regia LLC. Surveyed by Thomas Engineering, PA. Property is located within Township 1 off of Streets Ferry Road. Subdivision contains 6 lots on 11.41 acres. The lots will be served by Craven County Water and individual septic systems. Just going back on what Devin was stating, we would never be here before you without a valid septic permit. So they are an integral part in our review process. So each lot that we approve that's not on the municipality sewer like the city of New Bern is required to have an improvement permit before we move forward with any approval process. So it was nice to see her here. The map above is the vicinity map that shows the general location of the proposed subdivision along Streets Ferry Road, just south of Vanceboro town limits. Lots are situated near the front portion of the parcel along Streets Ferry Road and not towards the back. Robbie? This is the final plat to be recorded, showing the lot configuration for lots 1 through 6. There is a single entrance into the subdivision with a proposed road name of Abbey Road that has been approved by our E91 addressing coordinator. And from what I hear, the owner developers are big Beatle fans, so makes sense. Next slide, thank you, Rodney. The proposed subdivision is just north of the existing subdivision known as Swift Creek Plantation, which you see to the south of the houses there below. The lots do begin along Streets Ferry Road and end short of the pond, which is an old sand mine. You can see Swift Creek along the adjoining property to the northeast up there. There is a flood zone back there. They have some AE flood zone in the floodway, but no portion of that is no portion of the subdivision is located in any regulatory flood zone, so that's good news. Here are some site pictures of Abbey Road. As you can see, if we go from right to left, that's the entrance off of Streets Ferry Road going to Abbey Road. You see paved shoulders with seating on the side, and the ditches are installed. And I'll go ahead and address the elephant in the room. You see a nice finger down there on the one below behind everybody. That is not my finger, but somebody in the staff, so that's pretty funny. It happens to every one of us. A little bit of history of Dargantown Village. I thought it was pretty interesting. That's a very unique name, and I did some research on that, which is really nothing more than going to the town of Vanceboro's website. And the original name of Vanceboro was Dargantown Village. It was established in 1750 with 10 families.
I thought it was.
Dargantown was later changed to Swift Creek around 1850. Then it was renamed Vanceboro in 1877 in honor of Zebulon B. Vance, who made a campaign speech for governor at the time.
You know that?
The final plat for Dargantown Village has engineer certifications for all improvements such as roads, drainage, and the water system. All lots have approved environmental health permits for their septic systems. We ask the board to entertain a vote to approve the final plat for Dargantown Village as presented, if so desired.
All right, questions. I've got one. This is in the district in which I represent. Some years ago, I can't remember how many years ago, when they first were considering using this as development. I believe, I don't know if it's the same owners or somebody owned it before. It came before us about a graveyard that was there. What, do you remember what was ever done about that?
I don't recall there being a graveyard in this particular. I think this may have been the one that we looked. I know Forest Oaks that we were talking about earlier off of 17 has a graveyard there, but I'm not so sure.
I thought this one had some old grave sites.
I just spoke with Bobby, the engineer on the project, and he's not familiar with it, but there was a report, and I cannot remember. It's been probably like 8 years.
It's been right many years ago.
I can't really go back in my memory if it was just a rumor that there was an old cemetery there.
Okay.
And I had heard some discussions that they were doing some land movement out there, and that they had found some remnants of some caskets, maybe an unmarked cemetery, but that's
Mr. Chairman, if I can volunteer, the developer at the time appeared before this board and secured the statutory permission necessary to relocate those graves. I mean, he had a consultant from Durham that helps with those things, and the board approved the relocation. Now, whether the work was actually done, I don't know.
Is there any way that do we have any statutory ability to make sure that was done?
We can certainly follow up. I happen to know the developer, and he's still around, and I can reach out to him or through staff. So,
Commissioners, I would ask today, I mean, I don't try to hold it up, but I would ask it if you would allow it be approved depending on if that was done. If that was not done, then I think that we need to, I would like to hear more information about it in respect of those that were buried there and their families.
Yes, sir, understood.
All right, Commissioners, you have any other questions? Commissioner Smith?
My question, as always, is does these roads meet state standard that they can be turned over to state?
We have engineer certification that the road was.
Should we do that?
Constructed and designed to meet minimum NCDOT.
Does that mean yes, Jack?
What's that?
It's what he's saying mean that they meet those standards.
If the engineer signs off on it, yes. Now, whether or not they maintain it to that standard will be the question, right? Because once you build it, you got to maintain it as well, the ditching system and everything along. But I think meeting the standard of the ordinance is the design.
They have to have a certain amount of homes established on the road before a DOT will take over that maintenance, and that's when we become before the board.
The roads themselves are wide enough, and they just such a matter of deal. I'm dealing with that in my. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Other comments, questions? All right, what's the desire of the board?
I'd like to make the motion that we approve this contingent on the satisfactory disposition of the grave site.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed. All right, and B?
The next item is Hickory Run at River Trace Phase 2. Hickory Run Phase 2 is property owned by Bryce's Creek Mini Storage LLC. It was surveyed by Avalis Engineering, PA. The property is located within Township 7 off the Crump Farm Road. This phase contains 22 lots on 15.56 acres. The lots will be served by Craven County Water and individual septic systems. The vicinity map in front here shows the subdivision located in the Bryce's Creek area along Crump Farm Road. Subdivision is adjacent to an existing subdivision known as River Trace, and it's connected via an existing road within that division called Wild Turkey Road. The interconnected road provides a second entrance and exit for both subdivisions, which we will see a little bit better in a slide coming up. Here's the map plat showing the lot configuration for the proposed lots 48 through 69. If you look at the far right-hand side of the map, you'll see what looks to be a cul-de-sac. That's the Wild Turkey entrance as it moves up north, and then we'll take a left onto Starling Lane. And that is the Phase 2 portion headed out to Crump Farm, which is all the way to your far left on that map there. As I said, the proposed road name is Starling Lane, which has been approved by our E91 addressing coordinator. The map up front is a phase map. This was a preliminary map we had approved back in December of 2021 for a total of 67 lots. Phase 1 final plat was approved by the board on December 19th, 2022 for the lots along Wild Turkey Road. Phase 2, which is before you this morning, is the portion below, identified as Phase 2. That connects to Crump Farm Road to the south. Phase 3, which is up to the north, will complete the subdivision, and that will be submitted at a later date. Just a little zoomed in area site map. It really shows the interconnectivity, so you can see where the residents within River Trace and Hickory Run at River Trace have the ability to access their homes from Possum Trot, which will then lead into Wild Turkey, which goes into the Phase 1. You can see ever so lightly the building outline, lot outline for the Phase 1 improvements. To the south, which is Phase 2, we'll have access off of Crump Farm Road. Robbie? Here are some pictures of the divisions. We can start from the right-hand side. You can see where the old pavement meets the new pavement, which goes into Phase 1. So we're coming in off Wild Turkey. If we move to the left here, we'll eventually come to an intersection where you can go forward, left, or right. Going straight, you can see the houses that have been constructed within Phase 1. So if we were to take this left right here, That will take you onto Starling Lane, which will eventually take you out to Crump Farm Road. Turning right will eventually take you in what will be Phase 3 of Hickory Run at River Trace. Right. Just a few more pictures moving within the division. It kind of has a little snake feature as far as a meandering road there. Lots of trees, lots of nice little vegetation. You see the open ditches, and you see the eventual on the left-hand side as the road goes out to Crump Farm at the very end. A built to standards letter for Starling Lane was received from NCDOT on June 18th, 2024, which means that the road was essentially designed and built to minimum NCDOT standards. The project has a stormwater permit. Engineer certification has been provided for roads, drainage system, and the water system improvements. All lots have a valid environmental health permit for their septic systems. We ask the board to entertain a vote to approve the final map for Hickory Run at River Trace Phase 2 as presented if so desired.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chair Booker, this is in your district. You have questions?
Yes, I have a couple, Jason. Number one, time flies, but about 3 years ago, we had a very interesting meeting across the street regarding a sand mine. Where is this in relation to that? I can't see on this any of these maps. Does anybody? Do you know that?
All right. As you can see, it looks like there's some disturbance here.
Okay, so that light colored area above it. So, and that's part of Phase 3, that mine.
It's just north of it.
Just north of it. So is it in operation? Okay. So these people that are going to buy these homes are going to know in advance that there's a sand mine behind them. I mean, that's, I would think.
Pre-existing use, and they would buy knowing that.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I believe there's a 20-foot vegetative buffer around this division as well to help the visual impact.
And so they can go out to Crump Farm or they can go through the other subdivision. So they got two ins and outs. Okay. Board, you might remember that when Mary Jo Alcock, who is the DOT representative, was here last, I mentioned my concern for what's going on in this general area with new homes being built. The road on the right side of this map is Bryce's Creek Road. And it is getting increasingly difficult to move on that road as we continue to add more and more and more homes. And that's not our problem. It's our problem. It's not, we can't fix it. But Jack, I just think we need to remind the DOT again, we continue to approve subdivisions, and we should, because there's no reason to tell an owner that he can't build homes. But the one way in and one way out is on Bryce's Creek, and that's basically their only way in and out. They have County Line Road, but it's not paved, and that's no way to go, and particularly if it's raining. So I just want to remind our leaders in Raleigh, DOT people, that we need to look at some alternative solutions to this situation. And I'm not concerned about. I agree with this subdivision, and I'm for the approval, but traffic is becoming a bigger and bigger challenge, and I do hear from constituents about that on a regular basis.
All right. Any other questions, Commissioner Smith?
I know some people out in the Pleasant Hill area and above, as you know, and some of them had some problem with sinkholes from that sand mine that was, out that direction. So I hope that they're considering that. Some folks ended up with sinkholes in there.
Where is that, Miss B?
Out Platte.
out towards my way, out that way.
Oh,
There,
okay,
She was just
okay.
using it as a reference.
Okay, okay.
Around that mine, there
Yeah.
were some sinkholes, and she
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
would it be the same here?
Okay.
Denny, is that a flooding area?
I'm sorry?
Is that a flooding area?
No, it's not a flooding area, I don't think, is it?
All right, any other comments, questions? All
I'm
right.
going to echo
Yeah.
Danny's concern about the traffic in that area. It is awful, dangerous, and becoming more and more so.
Right.
As you know, that should be disclosed, not only the mine, but also one way in, one way out. So I feel bad for the people.
In the area, and it amazes me how many cyclists that you see up and down the road.
I rode my bike on that road one time, and that was the last time.
Yesterday, there was a gentleman on the trike, the sit-down pedal. Just,
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, Commissioners Dodd, what's the desire of the board on this one?
I like to move that we approve this development as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve this Phase 2 of Hickory Run at River Trace. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you all, appreciate it. All right, item 6 is Mr. Jeff Wood, our Economic Director.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good. I have a couple of exciting items to bring to you this morning. The first is a budget amendment for a state grant that we received for $2,450,000. This is to make improvements into the industrial park. A couple of items that we'll definitely tackle with this is one, putting infrastructure and breaking up lots 9 and 10. That's probably going to be somewhere between $950,000 and $1 million of the dollars. And then also the purchase of 27 acres along with a 10,000 square foot building to help us expand. As I've mentioned to the commissioners before, we are in constant need of product development and economic development. We've had a stroke of luck. We've been able to sell 6 to 10 acre lots. We want to continue that success. Buildings right now are very, very rare on the industrial side.
Okay, Commissioners, you have any questions about this state grant?
No, sir, I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment in the amount of $2,450,000. Is any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right, and then B?
Second item is the TechBridge Partnership Grant Agreement. This was something that was put into my budgets last year and extends over into this fiscal year as well. Very excited this fell at the right time because as of today we have about 47 exhibitors setting up in our convention center, and for Tuesday and Wednesday we will have the ENC TechBridge Showcase. Where I checked this morning, we have over 750 registered attendees coming to this event. This will be an opportunity for those vendors to show folks from FRC as well as Camp Lejeune and other companies what kind of technologies they have to be able to advance their missions. Various different products. So I'm very excited to meet with these companies. Gives me a chance to get in front of them to talk to them about how great it is to do business in Craven County. There were a number of those companies that asked to do a demonstration to the FRC at the newly established TechBridge facility. We will have on Thursday a couple of those companies meet, and I'd like to invite the commissioners to come over from 8 to 9 a.m. on Thursday to be able to walk through before the demonstrations start. For the remainder of the companies, we've asked them to come in after those demonstrations to talk to them about what they think of the facility and what those needs are. This was a church that was bought by the airport per FAA requirements, about a 4,000 square foot facility, and we've completely retrofitted it. It's a beautiful facility, and I know when I talk to the folks at FRC, when they need a place to do demonstrations and prototyping, they're fighting for square inches.
Mm-hmm.
So for us to be able to give them a facility like this has been a really great opportunity for them.
This in James City?
It's right at the airport, right at the entrance. In addition to that, this funding has also provided about $100,000 in research initiatives to about 16 different universities. It's provided funding to put 2 teachers embedded into FRC for 7 weeks, and then also a Kingdom Fellowship. So, and then I'll be applying for, they'll be sending me another RFP this month / next month, and we'll be responding to that to hopefully bring you some more good news in the next couple of months.
All right. Any questions about the Tech Bridge Partnership budget amendment? All right, here none, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment in the amount of $360,503. Is there any discussion on the motion? Here none, Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. Jeff, thank you, sir. All right, item 7 is facilities. Mr. Zach, he's got 3 items to bring before us today. Good morning.
Good morning.
In September 2023, Craven County and library staff contracted with the City of New Bern to lease a temporary location to serve the patrons of the New Bern branch while equipment replacement and construction take place at the main library branch located at 400 Johnson Street. During fiscal year 2023-2024, county staff worked with local representation in the General Assembly to obtain a grant to assist in making the repairs needed at 400 Johnson Street. The estimates to make all the needed repairs is approximately $1 million. The $1 million was allocated in the state budget as a direct grant to Craven County for capital improvements for this project. This grant enabled staff to put specific work out for bid and issue purchase orders to the approved low bidders. Staff anticipated on-site work lasting 8 months at the time of the grant acceptance in February 2024. Currently, on-site work is ongoing, is on schedule, and is on budget. The board is being requested to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $1,456,448 in order to carry over the unspent funds from fiscal year 2023-2024 into the current fiscal year and to complete this project. Of the $1,456,448, $358,241 is funded from capital reserve, and $739,966 is funded from a state grant.
Okay, commissioners, you have any questions?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment in the amount of $1,456,448. This is to complete the New Bern Library project. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hear none, Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right, and B?
This is for the animal shelter.
Yes, sir.
For fiscal year 2023-2024, the Board of Commissioners approved a project at the animal shelter that included interior repairs, exterior repairs, updating operational equipment, and expanding, enclosing, and additioning the rear garage for a dedicated intake location on site. The budget for this project was set at $573,600. A request for proposal, RFP, was issued in January 2024, and on February 8, 2024, bids were received. The low bidder was Berry Building Group. On March 4, 2024, a pre-construction meeting was held on site between staff, the architect, and the contractor. On June 10, 2024, a notice to proceed was issued to the contractor with a contract completion time of 120 days. During the first month on site, the contractor has completed demolition of specific areas and has begun construction and repairs as described in the scope of work. The contractor is on schedule, on budget, and anticipates project completion before expiration of contract days. The board is being requested to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $961,241 in order to carry over the unspent funds from fiscal year 2023-2024 into the current fiscal year and to complete this project. Of the $961,241, $459,112 is funded from capital reserve and $43,017 is funded from fund balance.
All right, commissioners, you have any questions concerning this budget amendment?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment amount of $961,241. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Chairman, do you want me to explain the difference in the numbers? I know it comes up every time. So if you look at the budget amendment, you'll see that there's $459,112 that comes out of the reserve fund. Then it moves to fund balance, and it's like a U. It shifts over to the general fund and then up into the capital line. So it's only the $459, but you have to show it moving twice by the accounting standards we have to follow.
Okay, any questions? All right, thank you for the explanation. Here, no further discussion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yep.
Chairman Jones?
Yes, all right. And C is the Havelock Health Clinic.
In October 2023, the Board of Commissioners approved a budget amendment to accept $589,000 in federal funding from the Health Resources and Service Administration and authorize staff to complete design work and solicit bids to expand the Havelock Health Clinic. A request for proposal was issued on March 1, 2024, and on March 28, 2024, bids were received. The low bidder was Carolina Bay Construction with a base bid and alternate number one amount of $422,000. On May 6, 2024, the Board of Commissioners awarded the project to Carolina Bay Construction. On June 19, 2024, a pre-construction meeting was held on site between staff, the architect, and contractor. The contractor is currently applying for permits with the City of Havelock. Staff anticipates the procurement of materials and the commencement of construction within 2 months. The board is being requested to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $538,264 in order to carry over the unspent funds from fiscal year 2023-2024 into the current fiscal year and to complete this project.
Okay, Commissioners, any questions?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the budget amendment in the amount of $538,264. This is the completion of the Havelock Health Clinic expansion. Any discussion on the motion?
We did just actually have testing done on site, and both sides are negative for asbestos and lead. Those are positive.
Good.
Yes.
All right.
So it was that time frame of when those materials were used in construction. So.
Okay, thank you. Hearing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard? Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it. All right, item 8 is Ms. Leslie Young, our tax assessor. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chairman, Craven County Commissioners. Each year at this time, I come before you to present the settlement. And this year for settlement 2023, I'm very proud to be here this morning. You have before you the settlement, and then, Chairman, I will ask for the charge once that's approved. And I thought while I'm here, go ahead and take just a small opportunity to give you an update on our next countywide revaluation. So to get started, in compliance with North Carolina General Statute 105-373, there are 3 parts to this settlement that I want to point out to you. The first one is the net levy. For settlement 2023 compared to settlement 2022, our net levy increased by $5,109,389.46. That's an additional $5 million to our levy. Something else I want to point out to you that is very noteworthy is our uncollected, which means our delinquent tax amount for this year is $100,054.61 less than it was compared to the last settlement in 22. So our net levy increased by $5 million, and we collected an additional $100,000 compared to the previous year. That is outstanding. For those numbers, when you take it all into account, the final result is that our collection rate for settlement 2023 resulted in 99.26. I want to comment on that just a little bit because that is the 3rd highest collection rate in at least the last 15 years. I want you to understand we have a staff of 5 in our tax collection division, and they certainly did a remarkable job this year. I'm very, very proud of them. I brought our tax collection manager with me, Cindy Glover, and she certainly deserves recognition this morning because she oversees that division. And I think it's very special this year because this is the year that Cindy celebrates her 25 years of not just serving Craven County, but specifically to the tax collection division. So I'm very excited for her, for me as well, but I'm excited for her that this is the year that she can really brag on the hard work that she did, and I think the numbers speak very, very well of her.
Thank you, Cindy, on behalf of the board.
Good job.
Good job.
Thank you.
And like anything else, certainly this is an improvement from the year before. And I want to take just a small opportunity here that throughout the fiscal year, we had a handful of folks that I had called on that I'd say the common denominator is there was no hesitation with their assistance, their support, their guidance. I want the board to know that County Manager Jack Vite, for his support and guidance, Gene Hodges, and actually our HR Director, Amber Parker, she chipped in a little bit for assistance this year. And a special thank you to Ari Grady and that as well. And like I said, for a variety of reasons, a handful of folks that I also need to and want to thank our Sheriff Chip Hughes for his assistance in our tax department. So thank you to all of you. I appreciate it all very much. For the next item, Chairman, is to approve this settlement for 2023. And then if there's no other questions, then we need to move on to the charge for 2024.
Okay. First item that we'll vote on then is to accept the tax settlement for the 2023 levy. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is any discussion on the motion? If not, Madam Clerk, I am going to ask you to call the roll on this one and the following, please.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right, and then if it's all right, I'll go ahead and proceed to the next, and that is to charge the Craven County Tax Collector with the tax collection of the 2024 tax levy. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Is any discussion on the motion? If none, Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll on that, please.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right, thank you. Now, go ahead and we look forward to hearing updates.
Yes, sir. And Chairman, just a note on the 2024 charge, we are on track for tax notices to mail next Thursday, July 25th. Next Thursday, July 25th, and we're on track for that.
Now, you have 99.6. Can we expect 100% next year?
I'm not trying. I want to talk just a minute that when I last saw you in February, I had spoken about the countywide revaluation, and a lot of last year we spoke about what's called the sales ratio that we have to report to Department of Revenue. And there's a range there that says that if our sales ratio falls below 85%, meaning that if our county appraised values are less than 85% of the market values of properties that are selling, DOR will mandate a revaluation from 3 years after. And I will tell you, I was very well preparing for a 2027 revaluation. I really expected for us to be under another mandate just because of how the values kept increasing. And the number that we report to DOR is the one that we report to in April that reflects the 2023 year in its entirety. Now remember, it's the 85% mark, and the number that we reported was 85.5. So we missed a mandate revaluation by 0.6 of a point.
Wow.
Okay. So it is official now. Our next countywide revaluation will be in 2028. So I wanted to make that announcement, and just like anything else on my website, I will be building on the website to get that information out to the public. I thought at this time it would be very beneficial. I've asked our chief appraiser, Justin Deese, to give just an update on what he has been seeing in the real estate market, certainly over this last year and a half.
Morning.
Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners. Last year we conducted the 2023 revaluation. Since that time, my division has continued to work on the 2023 revaluation, as well as look towards the next revaluation in 2028. Each day, the appraisal staff is focused on the past, the present, and the future, and what's going on in our real estate market. We verify sales, confirm property record data, and also analyze market trends to see how the market's doing, and have some anticipation of like what's 28 going to look like. Leslie stated that in our last ratio study, we had a ratio of 85.5. This ratio is an indication of the continued growth of Craven County and how things in the commercial and residential market have continued to improve since January 1, 2023. There have been 852 single-family home sales so far this year, compared to only 798 over the same period in 2023. Median sale price of a single-family home has increased from $305,000 to $310,000 that same time. As Jack mentioned a couple months ago, the residential building market remains strong. The appraisal division added 485 new single-family homes to the tax base for 2024, totaling over $120 million in assessed value. When we have these new homes added, supply of homes and places to live for residences still remains low. To meet the demand, new multifamily complexes have been constructed in Craven County. We have Comet West New Bern, Proximity New Bern, Highlands Village, Palatine Meadows, Hudson Carolina Colors, and Woodfield Landing have all been built since 2022. And these complexes have added 896 residential units to the rental market. And as far as tax base goes, they've contributed $60 million plus to our tax base. Our county's commercial market continues to blossom. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard is flourishing, as we've all seen new businesses going in there, including Kohl's, hopefully will be here later this year. In August, I will celebrate my 18th year serving as an appraiser with Craven County. And I've been really impressed just to see the commercial and industrial growth. Just in recent years, we heard from Jeff Wood earlier with the Craven Economic Development Department. It's Craven County Government, the Craven 100 Alliance, the Craven County Tourism Development Authority, and many other local organizations have really done an outstanding job of facilitating this commercial and industrial growth that we're seeing right now. The agricultural and forestry real estate markets, they're steady. The Department of Revenue recently released the 2025 Use Value Manual for agricultural, horticultural, and forest land. And the recommended present use value rates for 25 remain consistent with those from 2022 that we use. The North Carolina's present use value program is a tax deferment program that provides relief to Craven County's farming families. Recognizing its importance to our citizens, we've increased our PV trained staff from 1 to 5 to better serve our community. To sum it up, Craven County's real estate market is strong and continues to see growth. This growth is a testament to Craven County's beauty, our desirability, and most importantly, the citizens, which make Craven County a great place to invest and to live. I'd just like to take this time to thank you for your service to the community and also the support that you've given the tax department through the years and the employees of Craven County.
Thank you. All right, any questions from the board? Not. Thank you all for your time this morning and waiting, and for your presentation. That was great. And again, Cindy, thank you for what you do and your staff. Please relay that. Yes. Thank you all. All right, item 9. We have with us Major David McFadden and the sheriff. Good morning, gentlemen. I'll let you go first.
As we previously discussed, the Craven County Sheriff's Office was awarded a $970,757 grant over a 3-year period for what's known as the COSAP program, which addresses opioid and substance abuse and mental health issues with inmates we have within our system and in our facility. The purpose of this submission today is to request that the amount allocated or approved under the grant for the 24-25 fiscal year be approved by the commissioners. It's attached in the submission. If I could give you a brief update on where we are with this grant, it provides funding for a number of different inmate services within our facility aimed at addressing substance abuse, be it alcohol or especially opioid, which is the principal problem we're having. And we, under this grant, have a number of different programs. Our principal program is identifying individuals who have substance abuse and mental health issues and addictions and trying to place them in treatment programs. The principal treatment program we're currently using in Craven County is through the Hope Missions in Carteret County. Both Commissioner Hunt and myself serve on the board of Hope Missions, and they have a number of different programs that they provide. the program that we use called the Hope Recovery Homes. That's a 6-month inpatient program for individuals with substance abuse designations, be it alcohol or drugs, and then mainly it is drugs and mainly it is opioids. I can report to you today that the COSAC grant funds 9 beds for that program. The county, Board of Commissioners, you all provide funding for 6 beds in that program, and then we have the ability to fund 6 beds under the opioid settlement money that's been provided in Craven County. As of today, all 9 of those COSAC beds were filled with inmates from the Craven County Jail. All 6 of the beds that you have paid for are filled with inmates from the Craven County facility. We have 2 inmates in the opioid beds currently, and I spoke with the director this morning. They have 3 more of our inmates who have been approved to participate in that program, so we're just waiting final approval for those. And we hope within the week or next week we'll have all 6 of the opioid beds full. That's 21 inmates who have been diagnosed with opioid or alcohol abuse issues who are in a 6-month treatment program, which we've had good success with, very good success. So if nothing else, it provides that tremendous resource for those inmates. Additionally, it's a savings to the taxpayers because we only pay $35 a day per bed for every inmate that we send from our facility, which is substantially less than half of what it would cost the taxpayers to keep them in our facility. And in addition, Hope Ministries provides all health resources for these inmates, so we don't have health costs either. So it's a win-win for the citizens of this county, both from a savings and financial expenditures, but with the hope that we will be turning some lives around, helping these people address their addiction issues and not seeing them back in our facility. So we greatly appreciate Craven County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Hughes' the support of this board and the funding we have to provide these services.
Great update. Commissioners, before we approve this, are there any questions? Not, the recommendation is to approve the budget amendment amount of $204,359. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Hold on just a second.
I think Commissioner Hunt needs to recuse herself based on the Senate law.
That's right.
This
Okay.
money's going to Hope Mission.
Make the motion to.
All right.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to recuse Commissioner Hunt from this vote. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, please let the minutes show that Commissioner Hunt has stepped out of the room. She has been recused. All right, going back to the original motion. Madam Clerk, did you have a motion from somebody for that, or?
Yeah, but Hunt made it, so we need
Okay.
to start over.
All right, we got a motion from Commissioner Mark. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Mitchell makes the second. Any discussion on the motion? This again is to approve the budget amendment amount of $204,359. Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker,
Yes.
Chairman Jones.
Yes. Thank you, sir. All right, if you don't mind asking Commissioner Hunt to come back in, Major, thank you. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning, Chairman.
Thank you for waiting this morning.
Gotta be somewhere.
So definitely, we want you to talk about this school resource officer for Riverside Leadership Academy Charter School. You and the vice chair have met with individuals from the charter school. We're also going to ask to hear from him this morning, but we'll turn it over to you first.
So, not too long ago, matter of fact, I think, Jack, what was it, maybe 2 weeks before the budget was approved?
Yes, sir.
The charter school that is being constructed in the James City area reached out to us about the options of providing an SRO for their charter school. We had a lot of questions, had some very good conversations. One, how many students and their growth projection, and right now I think we're at roughly 440, Jack, is that what they told us?
Yes, sir.
Students.
Yeah.
Already enrolled. And, you know, basically we went over the complexity of finding an SRO. I mean, it's tough enough to find deputies as it is, but an SRO is a special individual, has to wear multiple hats, and honestly, there's not a lot of deputies that are standing in line to be school resource officers. So, hypothetically, if this position was approved today, realistically, finding one before school starts in August is going to be a stretch. However, we continue to recruit and look, but I can tell you it will be a stretch to get one in place day one if approved today. So we went over all the requirements of an SRO with them. You know, the fact that they do report to me and work for the county and not necessarily the school. They fall under my direction, but we work closely with them in regards to the safety and security of the staff and students. Not as much of what their policy and procedures are, but we're charged with safeguarding and protecting the students and staff. And that's it. So we put together the numbers and discussed with them, Jack and I did, and the vice chair, about what it would cost to put a deputy in the school. The total number, and some of this is one-time cost, would be $168,955. That is salary, everything, uniforms, radio, once again, a lot of one-time costs, vehicle taxes, installation, weapons, laptop, mobile radio, things of that sort, of which they were certainly willing to help meet the cost. And what they offered to pay, or they agreed to pay, was 66.66%, or 2/3 of the cost to put up an SRO in the schools. We did explain to them that that a budget had just been approved for the county, and that the addition of an SRO was not only requested by my office at the time, because I did not know, but it was not approved in the budget. So this would be something that we would have to come forward and have discussions with the commissioners about, and the numbers we came up with was what Jack, myself, and the vice chair talked with them about, and that's where we are currently. So I'm coming before you today telling you what it will take, that if the board does decide to approve this position, it is going to take me some time to recruit and find the individual that I feel comfortable with putting in there. But also remind you, we've got 440 students, many from this county, that are going to be attending this school, and they plan on growing it every year. And as the sheriff, I am charged with safeguarding our residents and our children in this county. We're going to do what we have to do. So,
thank you, Sheriff. All right, Vice Sheriff Booker, you've been a part of those discussions. You want to?
Yeah, I just have a couple of comments. One is that this is a public school, and as a public school, we have committed several years ago to provide an SRO for every public school, and we have done so. And so, whether we like it or not, this is another public school that the kids need to be protected. And so, based on that, I guess my recommendation is that we move forward with this. Now, as far as the details as to exactly what we pay and what they pay, I think we have some discussion on that.
Okay. All right, commissioners, comments, questions?
I want to go ahead and move to approve it with some specifics, and we can go into discussion, I guess, after
I
that.
have a question before we do that.
Well, hold on, Commissioner Smith. He has made a motion, so I'm going to have to go ahead and allow him to do so.
I'll defer to Ms. D.
Okay,
before,
all right.
so we can.
Mr. Smith?
As a public school, is this school available to all public students who wish to attend a school?
Jack, if you will, you and Ari, can y'all?
Yes, sir. I did communicate with a representative of the school in hopes that they would be here today in fear of those type of questions coming up, which we're not the most knowledgeable individuals on. Commissioner Smith, the only thing I can tell you is there's an application process and a review by the school. I don't know the criteria they set or how many are selected or how many are not selected. It is not a traditional enrollment school where you have a district, right, like we're familiar with. So it can draw from anywhere in the county. However, their criteria to enroll someone, I just don't know.
They can draw from other counties, and anytime there's an application process, they can say, I mean, technically they can say no. I've had students apply to Arapahoe, and I mean, there's a possibility of no, but I generally think they all, most of the time they say yes, 90-something% of the time, but.
I have a question is, how come they waited till this point? They organized this many months ago. Why didn't they come to us then and give us an idea that they needed this SRO officer?
Well, I mean, we could, probably the sheriff and Commissioner Book and I may have a different opinion on that, but I would say, Commissioner Mark, they're a new school. They're still figuring it out, some parts of it along the way. You know, I think the sheriff's right. If we could have got this in April or May, it'd have been a lot easier to deal with. I don't deny the fact the sheriff's going to have a hard time finding somebody between now and August the 15th. It's almost impossible, I believe. However, Commissioner Mark, I can't tell you why the last minute.
Okay.
So I know as soon as they reached out to me that very day, I reached out to the county manager.
Well, no, I'm not
Just
blaming
to
your
bring
part.
everybody in,
I'm
because we
talking
were
about
already-
them. They organized this a long time ago, and they should have brought it to the county at that time.
Well, you know, you saw that they, you know, I saw that they were building out there, but nobody knew a time frame, and there was no request up until, you know, about 2 weeks out for the.
Do you have something?
I have a question.
Commissioner Hunt?
My question was, did they happen to mention how many students or what percentage are not Craven County students?
True.
No, ma'am, and honestly, I did not ask. I have no idea what that number is.
I'm just curious, because I know that there will be students from other counties attending.
Sure, Carteret and Jones County.
Just to that point, we have kids from Craven going to the charter school at Arapahoe, and we're not paying for their
I was just curious.
SRO. No, they didn't give us that information.
Well, that would be, I could see that Pamlico's doing it and allowing our people, but Carteret and Jones is not.
We don't know.
Other questions?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve this request, but looking at the Pamlico contract, I'm going to go with the percentages. They had 9.5 months would be paid by the school, 2.5 would be paid by us. That would be a 79-21% split, and also 100% of the onboarding would be paid by the school. So my
I'd
motion.
second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Questions, discussion. Okay, just to understand your motion. So you're saying that they would pay 100% of equipment cost?
Onboarding, yep.
And then from there would be a 79?
21%.
21%. Okay. All right.
Roughly.
Discussion from the board. The only thing
excuse me, go ahead.
I'll let you go first.
No, you go ahead.
You know, whether we agree or disagree about in the county whether we should have private schools, Christian schools, charter schools, I think we all have to realize that these children are innocent. Their parents, for the most part, have made these decisions and where they're going to go. Regardless of who they are, we have a responsibility, I think, as a Board of Commissioners to make sure that all of our schools are safe. And when I say all of our schools, I'm talking about even Christian schools, non-public schools, such as this charter school. And the sheriff and I have had discussions about that over time, and I appreciate that in the busyness of everything that his deputies have to do, that they're still, on occasion, they drop by some of these other schools and check in. That's the only thing I would bring to the table. I personally don't agree with your motion. I support funding this charter school to the best of our ability. I think that we ought to share in the cost of more so than the equipment of 100% of that. And so I'm going to vote against the motion that's been made, because I think that we, as a Board of Commissioners, ought to do the let them pay 2/3 and we pay 1/3. I think we have a obligation to do that. So that's my statement. So other comments from the board?
Go ahead.
I have mixed emotions about this, because I understand that we have a responsibility to all children, and I'm passionate about seeing that children are cared for. However, I have trouble with when we don't include everyone, and many of these schools do not. And I do not feel comfortable voting for something for a school that would not include me or my citizens from my district. So I'm reluctant to say yes until I learn more about the school and what is happening at the school.
Commissioner Smith, I'd caution that statement. I usually don't disagree with you, but I don't think nothing about this charter school prohibits any certain group of folks that, can attend or can't attend. I don't know all their processes, but I will say that, this is, if you look at the general statute, this is like a 27th school. I mean, we're about 26, and this is actually adding a 27th public school. I mean, 440 students.
You are aware of that. I'm not. I said until I am aware that all students are included. If you're comfortable.
I have a question. When you say all students, what are you of the opinion that some students?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not of the opinion that some are not, but I need to know.
Well,
being a black woman in Craven County, understanding that some schools, some places do not basically include all races of children. There are a limited amount of some races. And so I'm a little bit cautious about that. I'm not accusing this school. I'm not saying so. I said I need to know that.
Perhaps we can address it this way. This is funded out of the public school monies by the state of North Carolina. So it has to adhere to the same non-discriminatory practices that are required in all public schools.
I think Ms. B brings up a good question. It'd be nice if they were here to answer her question. Obviously that's the correct answer, but if you really want this, bothering to show up would be a nice gesture.
Can I make a comment? We as a county, as a Board of Commissioners, have made a commitment to protect our school children. We've also, I think most of us support parents' ability to choose the right educational
I support that as well.
Format for their children. There will be 440 students, 400-ish students in this academy. I'm not going to be the person who says we protect students in some schools and not in others. And I think our primary focus needs to be the protection of the school children. And years ago, a senior elected individual in this state made the comment to me, I don't see why we are so concerned about school safety. It's never happened here. And I said, sir, every school that had a school shooting said that before it happened. So I'm going to support it. We can discuss the division of cost, if you will, but I'm going to come down firmly on the side of protecting our school children.
Okay, Commissioner Moore.
No, I just want to make one thing clear. The state is supporting the school. Now, these children going to the school, are they going to be are they being demanded to pay a certain amount individually?
I don't think they can make them pay.
No, sir. And just as a reference point, when you say the school is funded, you fund the school system for every child that's enrolled in that school from Craven County. That money's shifted to the charter school. So it's actually publicly funded. That's why we're calling it a public school. So if that happened in Carteret, Pamlico, or Jones, say one of them came here, that money from that county is going to come along with the child to the school. I do not believe there's any tuition base. I cannot speak on fees, whether there's fees like any other school would have or not.
The only reason I ask that is because there's been very little information on that.
Correct.
And I agree with what you just said, that Carteret would have to come over with their money and so forth.
I mean, inherently, and Commissioner Howard's much more versed in public education policies than I am, but you're funding this school. Craven County is funding this school for every kid that leaves the school system and goes to the charter school.
Well, every child that leaves the school and goes to another school, public or private, the public school system loses that money. They lose that money whether the child is going to another public school or a private school. But I know that I am. I should have maybe studied a little more about this school, but sitting here, not things are coming to me. People question the school, and I don't have the information to give them answers. If it's a public school, completely public, and it's a school for all children, then yes. But if it's a private, I know what charter schools are, some public and some are not, and I'm questioning this school, and I'm looking for answers. I'm not saying that every child. I know every child deserves to be protected. Yeah. But they have that opportunity at as much opportunity at the other public schools. So if a person determines that public school is not for them, I can agree with it. I can understand it. I agree with it. But I think there should be some limits on how far public money should go to protect private industries.
Ms. B, I'll say that from talking to teachers that work there, some retiring from Craven County and moving that direction or just being recruited, it's going to be a diverse school. Students from all over Craven County, progressive in mind, and I think their curriculum you would approve of, and the diversity of the student population you would approve of. From what I've been told.
Thank you for that information.
Yes.
So, County Manager, you had your hand up.
Yeah, so just checking their website, okay, try to answer some of your questions. Charter schools do have open enrollment. They cannot discriminate in admissions, and they cannot associate with any religion or religious groups. What they say on there is they will not discriminate based on ethnicity, race, religion, any of those things. There's a statement on their website. I can only go by what's offered. We didn't have that in-depth conversation with them. But I would say that the general statutes are pretty clear on this and the law that this is not a private school. This is a public school.
Thank you for that. And Chad, thank you for letting me know personally.
Can I call the question?
All right. We've had to call the question. So the motion on the table, Madam Clerk, if you will, please read it back to us.
He moved to approve the request having the charter school pay 100% of the equipment cost. And regarding operating costs, charter school would pay 79%, the county would pay 21%.
All right. Jack?
Yes, sir. I just point of clarity. There's some terminology on a sheet in your packet, which is a breakdown on cost for an SRO. Commissioner Howard, are you suggesting that 100% of the one-time cost associated primarily with equipment is what you're funding at 100%, and then 79.5 for the remaining salary, benefits, and other consumables?
That is what we're proposing based on my discussion with
I just want to make sure it's that one-time equipment, because all equipment's different than one-time equipment.
Okay, so the motion, just again, from Commissioner Howard, is that the charter school, pay for all the equipment cost, and that is $97,000, estimated at $97,606.
I think what Jack was saying, the onboarding one-time equipment.
Yes, so if you look at that sheet, you say equipment and other, there's a section there that says one-time cost, meaning you buy the vehicle one time initially, and then that vehicle stays with the deputy throughout the term of that vehicle. Same thing with the firearm, weapons package, laptop, and you can see in there, there's a variety of other items. I believe I understood when he said onboarding, he's only referring to those. And when I say that, because uniforms and gear, that's more of a yearly thing. I think you're still considering that the 79.5%, correct?
I would say the one-time cost stuff would be what we're proposing they pay for. So we would still pay for the uniform, duty gear, training, fuel, stuff like that would still be Craven County.
Yeah. You know, we've gone up quite a bit. It used to be an SRO appointment was $100,000. Now we're saying it's $168,000.
Yeah, so Sheriff obviously has a lot of information, but I'll tell you that where the rubber meets the road here, and excuse the pun, is the vehicle. There are no more Dodge Chargers, which were very affordable in years past when we hired SROs. So the sheriff has to replace a vehicle somewhere else in his fleet to then pull a Charger out to get to an SRO. And I'm not speaking for him, but he and I talk more about vehicles than probably anything else because there's no option out there right now that's good for him.
No option other than a Tahoe?
I mean, that's up to the sheriff and what he's replacing inside the fleet.
Because that person, that car is going to be at the school all the time that person is at the school.
Correct. So the Tahoe will actually be in with another deputy or sheriff's office personnel, and he would transfer a Charger from the field into the school.
Okay, but that's not said in this.
So I know you've called the question, Commissioner Howard, but just due to, and I hope you would respect it, due to the lack of clarity in trying to understand exactly, what we're talking about. So getting back to one-time cost, Jack, I think it's appropriate you go through here and just point out to us what one-time cost is on this sheet.
Robbie, you can pull that up on the screen too if you can find it in the agenda. But going through this, it's primarily the vehicle, which is $54,000. It is a Chevy Tahoe. It costs about $16,500 to upfit that Tahoe with the required equipment, light package, siren package. There's the taxes on the vehicle, which are one time when you purchase it. The AIM install, that's part of our fuel system. That's a sensor that's on the car. When you get to the fuel, it allows you to be able to fuel with our pumps. The weapons package, which is a sidearm, a rifle, sheriff, I believe, is that the two in that package? Laptop, car mount, car printer and mount. That's the terminal within the car that the deputy uses. And then the mobile radio, which is just traditional to any other officer, what's needed in the field.
So one more question. That SRO officer is for 10 months, correct?
An SRO officer is for 12 months, but about 9.5 of it's in the school.
So then it would go, actually, the sheriff is getting a bonus then.
There is, well, I mean, I feel like I'm speaking for him, but there's a tremendous amount of training that has to happen in that 1 and or 2.5
No, I
months.
understand that.
Yeah, but he does have the ability to have an extra officer at times.
So the amount of money that we're talking about, a one-time cost of what I've just added, $88,120.
I should add that up.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good, sir.
Okay. All right. All right, it's been called a question.
Before we vote, I'm gonna, as you are, gonna vote no. Not that I don't want to approve this, but I'm gonna vote no on the percentage and the one-time deal. And at the appropriate time, I'll make a motion. I want to make a motion at the appropriate time that we go with the 6633 that we originally talked about.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Can I ask another question before we vote?
We still got a motion on the table.
Okay.
From Commissioner Howard.
You're voting on Commissioner Howard's motion is what this roll call is for.
Okay.
Just so everybody understands.
I want a little bit more clarity. Now, what you're saying is that the county does not pay for the car and all of that. Well, wouldn't that belong to the sheriff's department? I'm trying to get clarity before I vote.
Yeah.
That does not belong to the school. It belongs to the. It belongs to you, right? Okay.
It belongs to the county.
Okay.
Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Mitchell?
No.
Commissioner Smith?
No.
Commissioner Howard? Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
No.
Chairman Jones?
No, motion fails due to vote was 3-4. All right, we bring it back to the board. Vice Chair Booker?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we go with the 33.66%. The county paying for 33% of the total cost and the school paying for 66%.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have
Second.
a second? I have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I have a question.
Commissioner Hunt?
With that division, does that include the startup costs?
Everything.
Everything.
So they would cover 66%
Of everything.
Everything.
Okay, thank you.
All right, other questions? All right, everybody got clarity on this motion? All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes, motion passed. All right, so next step, Sheriff, County Manager.
We will, Sheriff and I will sit down with the leadership and develop a contract, just like we do with the other SRO officer positions, and let them know of your decision today.
So they will be paying 66% of onboarding.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the way I understood the motion.
Okay, just checking.
And I will start recruiting today.
Good with that.
Okay, Sheriff, while you're here, few updates, if you will. Anything going on?
Well, last week, and I'm sure we brought up probably Commissioner's comments as our chair and vice chair were with us in Raleigh. Lieutenant Lindsay Moses Windings was awarded the Medal of Valor by Governor Mark Robinson. And this was as a result of her actions in October of 21 when her shift was serving an involuntary commitment order, which is probably one of the most dangerous things a deputy sheriff can do on an individual that was terrorizing a neighborhood, had weapons, and narcotics were involved. They went there, a fight ensued, shots were fired. Deputy Bellingham was hit in the abdomen, subsequently is paralyzed from his waist down. During that time, she was fighting with the assailant, was able to briefly disarm him, which gave them time to retreat and get in a safer location, at which time she took Deputy Bellingham with her out of the house and put him in a safe location and continued to go to the fight. And for her actions, she was awarded the Medal of Valor, like I said, by Governor Robinson. There's 2 awards given per year. This legislation was put into place last year by the General Assembly, and it was a unanimous vote in both chambers. And our Lieutenant Governor, Governor Mark Robinson, was the one that spearheaded that and worked very closely with us on the presentation of this award. As you saw, they rolled out the red carpet. Many of the legislators were there, and it was just top-notch and done really well. And thanks to Robinson, the lieutenant, her shift, for the chair and vice chair being there. We missed you, Jack. I knew you were planning on being there, but it was very special. And you know, one, it was very historic. The very first Medal of Valor went to a female deputy, ship lieutenant of mine. And I think that speaks a lot about the caliber of people that we have working in this county that protect and safeguard us every day, and the fact that they put their safety aside and they run to the fight.
But could you stop you a minute, Vice Chair? You want to make a comment to it?
Well, my only comment would be, it was you said it all. My only comment would be, when I saw her and saw the size of her and saw that she pulled this man, this injured deputy, down the stairs and got him outside. I know adrenaline is an amazing thing, but she's an amazing individual. That's all I can say. She fought this guy, knocked the gun away, and then got the injured deputy out, and it was terrific. My only comment other than that would be that he was there at the ceremony, Deputy Bellingham, and in his wheelchair, and to see him there, and he was very supportive, and I talked to him afterward. He was very upbeat. We just need to keep him in our prayers. You know, 3 years ago this happened, or 4 years ago, and everybody was praying for him, and then he kind of out of sight, out of mind. We need to keep him in our prayers because his life is permanently altered, and his service and her service are just special. That's all I can say.
Commissioners, as a result of the comments that's been made, Vice Chair and I did attend. I think it would be appropriate if you would agree to let's ask staff to prepare a resolution.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have a motion and a second to approve a resolution and present it to Lieutenant Moses Winnings. I think they've already provided some information to staff that you could use. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. All right, thank you for that. Sheriff, we turn it back to you. Anything else?
No, sir. That's it. Thank
All
you
right,
very much.
thank you. Any questions for the sheriff? All right, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. All right, Commissioners, item 10. Commissioners, due to a conflict that I have with item 10, I would like to ask that the board recuse me from voting on item 10 due to a potential conflict of interest. Do I have a motion?
Motion, move to.
Okay. Do I have a second? Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I'm going to turn it over to the Vice Chair.
Okay, item number 10, water meter change-out project. Mr. Booth, you want to fill us in? Thank you.
Yes, sir. So in 2022, the board approved funds to begin changing out 15,000 meters of varying age spread out across the county. The meters are currently due to be changed out in the James City area, focusing on mainly the I-42 construction zone and highly traveled roads like Madam Moore's Lane and Old Cherry Point. The next round of meters will focus on Northwest Craven, which is our largest area that our meter readers read. Distance between meters makes reading difficult and also increases wear and tear on vehicles. So that's why we're focused on that during phase 3. The War Department is asking the board to approve a budget amendment of $1,193,500 to replace 1,800 meters and install 2 remote data collection units. We're also asking for VA to roll over the $918,901 remaining in last year's budget in order to complete the installation of meters in phases 1 and 2, which is the James City area. This project was put on hold due to installing new billing software, and we are due to install these meters beginning in mid-July, probably sometime at the end of this week or next week is what we're looking at right now. Of course, as always, the replacement of our current meters will provide improved customer service by increasing the accuracy of our readings, avoiding delays in billing, decreasing wear and tear on county vehicles, and also providing leak detection, reducing water loss for county, helping customers incur less costs due to plumbing issues.
Okay, any questions from the board?
Yes. For the customer service piece of that?
Yes, sir.
Paying online and some of the other issues?
Yes, so what happened there, we were set to do what's called resident access. So we have a new billing software, and with that is resident access. A multitude of issues arose with every software integration that we do. So the status of that now is our IT department, we have entered into a testing phase, and so we hope to roll that out by the end of this month. And so the online, they can still pay online, the ACI payments like they have in the past. But the once we go to our new system, which is resident access, it'll be an online portal you'll log into. You'll have access to all of your account information, consumption history, and the ability to pay your bills online, just like with other utility agencies throughout our area. Once we get that going, then the ACI payment will drop off. So we have had the ability to pay online. It's just been the old system, and we're looking to move it to the new system.
So some of the individual customer concerns have been addressed?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No, we need a roll call. I'm sorry, we need a roll call, yeah. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark,
Yes.
and Vice Chairman Booker.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Dale, would you let Chairman know he can come on back in? Mr. County Manager, you're up next.
Okay.
Commissioners, I have been asked if we could take a 5-minute recess before we get into the next items. We're going to be doing a lot of moving back and forth, and I think staff just needs a minute to prepare for a few things. So if you would, let's take a 5-minute. Commissioners, it is going to be everybody on here is going to have to wiggle out and back and forth. So
Yes, sir. And if you don't mind, Mr. Chair, since I serve on the Act Board, I'm going to recuse myself.
okay, Commissioner Mitchell has desired that she be recused from voting on item 11A due to serving on the Act Board of Directors. Do I have a motion to allow that?
So moved.
Okay, I have to take that as a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Commissioner Mitchell is out of the room. Jack?
All right. So we'll do the musical chairs here through these items. Excuse me. This is your normal request for your membership to Allies for Cherry Point tomorrow. As you noted, because of a recusal, Commissioner Mitchell is your board member appointed. I serve in an ex officio capacity there and have for many years. In February of this year, Mayor Will Lewis, along with members of Allies for Cherry Point, came and presented the board of their activities throughout the year. The board seemed pleased at that time. My recommendation would be to approve the $25,000 from the general fund to cover the 2024-2025 membership.
All right, what's the desire of the board?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the special appropriation of $25,000 for Allies for Cherry Point. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker,
Yep.
Chairman Jones.
Yes. All right, if you will invite Commissioner Mitchell back in. Commissioner Mark has cited a conflict with voting on item 11B to serving on the U.S. Highway 70 Commission. Do I have a motion to recuse him?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? All right, Jack?
Commissioners, Highway 70 Corridor Commission is made up of Wayne, Lenore, Craven, Carteret, Craven, Lenore, Wayne, and Johnston counties along the Highway 70 corridor, better known as I-42. This group's been working for over 20 years in making that an interstate and allowing for the economic development that should follow. Commissioner Mark serves as your member. I also serve there along with Chad from our planning department. We've seen a lot of progress. There are some big hurdles to overcome, particularly when we talk about the Kinston bypass and some things going toward Johnston County that funding is short on. They are still working very hard. Commissioner Hunt attended a recent meeting, so she got to see firsthand here in New Bern when we hosted last month of the work they're doing. I would recommend continuing your membership of $25,000 for the 2024-25 year.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve special appropriation of $25,000 for the Highway 70 Corridor Commission. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker,
Yes.
Chairman Jones.
Yes. All right, if we will invite Commissioner Mark back. Next would be 11C is the Hope Mission in discussion with Commissioner Hunt. She also has a conflict with voting on item 11C due to serving on the Hope Mission Board of Directors. Can I have a motion to recuse her?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Jack?
Commissioner Hunt wins the prize for having to be recused 3 times for the same group. This is Hope Mission. I thought Major McFadden did a great job of outlining to you the amount of beds that we have. These are the beds that are found in the general fund. If you remember several years ago, if you were on this board, the sheriff brought forth Hope Mission initially after seeing the success they'd had in Carteret County. They came before the board. The board decided to invest in that with your own general fund. This is excluding any settlement dollars or grant funding. This is purely from our general fund. This does fund bed space. that everyone has the ability to use that's incarcerated, needs these type of services. I would recommend appropriate $25,550 from the general fund to continue this program.
All right, you heard a recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve $25,500 for Hope Mission. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes, thank you. If you will, invite Commissioner Hunt back. Now we go to 11D. It's the C1A annual contribution discussion with Vice Chair Booker. He has cited a conflict with voting on item 11D to serving on the C1A Board of Directors. To have a motion that we recuse him.
Yes.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any
Second.
discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Jack.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'll start with a little editorial privilege. If you notice in your tax department package today, there was a form in there that said top 10 taxpayers in Craven County. If you don't believe economic development, agriculture, and our manufacturing sector is important, take a look at that list. I will tell you, I serve as a board member along with Commissioner Booker and other citizens representing Craven County on this board. They work very hard to encourage growth in business, recruit new business. You heard from Mr. Wood this morning and the activities that are taking place. I'll make sure we have product available. This is our annual per capita membership. There are 3 public entities that are involved: Havelock, Newbern, and Craven County. We are the largest piece at 50,360 because we count every citizen in our per capita number. This has been the same number since this group started in 2014. And I will recognize, and I wish Mr. Wood was here, this is the 10-year anniversary this September, and there will be a celebration. I hope each of you can attend. There's been a lot of hard work. You know, if my mind's right today, about $185 million in investment over that 10 years. The C1A's worked hard to achieve.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the special appropriation of $50,360 to the C1A. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Mitchell? Yes, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right, if we can, invite Vice Chair Booker back. Now we're at 11E, in discussion with Commissioner Howard. He has cited a conflict with voting on the item 11E due to his serving on the Realize 252 Board of Directors. Do we have a motion to recuse him?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Jack.
Mr. Chairman, Realize U252, local sober living facility, along with providing support to people who are in recovery. We've been a partner with this group for, it feels like, many years, but at least 5 or 6. And they have a property here in Craven County where predominantly right now males are able to stay in that sober living capacity to continue their recovery. This year, a little different than last. There is an amount of $20,000, and per our discussions of budget, I'm going to outline that for you. Last year, we gave them $12,000 for support of the individuals who are there from Craven County. They've asked for $15,000 this year for that. They are seeing the house fully occupied. And the last $5,000 was a marketing campaign related to stigma, related to substance misuse and people in recovery. Kim Briel, who's a partner in Realize U252, gave a presentation at an event earlier in the spring where there's billboards and marketing materials and things that will be shared about stigma and how to overcome that in Craven County. So 5,000 of the 20 would be appropriated for that. The 15 and the 5 equals 20, which is being requested and recommended by staff.
Okay, Commissioners, what's the desire of the board?
Make a motion.
So, second.
We have a motion and a second to appropriate $20,000 to U252, Realize U252. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Hunt?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes, all right, if we could invite Commissioner Howard back. All right, welcome back, sir. All right, Jack, anything else on 11?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all, Commissioners, for your help in that. All right, item 12 is appointments. You have before you pending, current, and upcoming. Are there any nominations for any pending appointments? Here none, we will move to current. This is the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Annual Convention, which will be August the 10th, 2024. I think the clerk told me that Commissioners Howard and Hunt will be attending. Which one of y'all would like to be the voting delegate for us?
Got to stay long.
It requires you to be there Saturday for the business meeting.
Right.
We'll discuss it either way, so I don't care.
You have to vote.
We have to have.
We got to vote.
Can we put one of them as the voting delegate and one as the alternate?
We can both attend the meeting.
Sherry can be the.
Okay.
I was gonna say, he can vote. I voted last year.
Okay. If we could, Commissioners, would you agree? Let's put Howard as the delegate and Hunt as the alternate. Would that be agreement?
So moved.
Okay, we have that nomination from Commissioner Mitchell. Hearing no opposition, all right, we will accept by acclamation. Thank you all for representing us and serving. All right, any other current appointments that we may have forgot? Anybody? Okay, upcoming, we got a long list there coming up in future months. Please take note of that. Any other appointments to consider today? All right, item 13 is the County Attorney's Report. Mr. Eric Grady.
No report, Mr. Chairman, but I do want to let the board know that we are scheduled to close on the Parks Road property this afternoon. So great. We'll report back to you when that's a done deal.
Okay, we thank you, sir. Appreciate your service.
I had a question.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Howard.
Following up on the, I don't know if it should be for closed session. That was the question.
Okay. County Manager Report, Mr. Vite.
Yes, sir. If you don't mind, I'll just do it from my place here. I have several items for you today. I'll try to be brief since we're a little longer than normal. I thought today was a great reminder of something that I see quite often, and that's the remarkable county employees that we have and the programs that they run to serve the citizens of Craven County. I think today I sat here with a goose pimple on my arm about the whole day, seeing the quality and really efficiency of what we're trying to do. And it reminds me often how lucky I am as county manager to be able to serve in Craven County with such a wonderful group of people. So I'll just put that out there. What a great reminder this morning. I am pleased this morning to also tell you about a new team member we'll have here at Craven County that I'm really excited about, who will be starting on Monday, July 29th, and this is Miss Caitlin Godley. She will be our new Craven County Opioid Epidemic Response Program Manager, which is a really, really long title, maybe the longest in the county. But we're excited about Miss Godley. I'm going to tell you real quickly about her. She's a native of North Carolina. She's been a resident of Craven County for more than 10 years, sharing both a bachelor's degree and a master's degree from East Carolina University in psychology and substance abuse and clinical counseling. She developed a deeper understanding of the nature of addiction and the importance of diverse treatment options through those studies. And after that, she obtained professional licensure as a licensed clinical addiction specialist, or an LCAS, which is a really unique title. Not a lot of those out there. And she spent her time here in Craven County working for Port Health Services. Now was formerly Port Human Services, now Port Health Services. She began there in 2014. She's been in leadership positions both as a program supervisor and director for the Port Health here in New Bern. She's worked diligently to make improvements in clinical services, identify trends in the population served, and make changes that were essential to better meet the needs of the community. She's developed and implemented treatment curricula, clinical trainings, and administrative and clinical program procedures necessary to improve the provision of services. Throughout all this, she's just a very bright and eager individual to join in the fight with the county, with the other staff that are already here, to start saving lives. So we're excited about her joining. Again, she'll be here on July 29th. Soon after, I'll have her come before the board and present herself, along with Miss Kennedy. I think she's due for a trip here too to report to you and all the things she's doing out in the field. But I just want to thank publicly Amber Parker, our HR director, who wears many hats. But in times where we have voids, particularly in this program, department heads, and in this case Amber, had to fill in and be that program manager along with the regular duties. She's done an exceptional job with that, taking us to the next level. But I know she's excited to have some help here and to get this thing moving forward. And lastly, I was again reminded today about another group of people that's been very important to Craven County, and that's our legislative delegation. as Zach went through some of those projects, whether it was the library or Jeff Wood going through with the $2.45 million in legislative money to have product here, that we're really blessed with the group that we have. Representative Tyson, Representative Cairns, and former Senator Perry, who many of you know resigned from his position to pursue other opportunities a couple weeks ago. And I just wanted to say a couple words about Senator Perry, since he is retiring. He's been an advocate for Craven County. He's been a supporter of our work. He's been there when we needed him, and more particularly, just a few weeks before he resigned, I took a significant issue related to economic development to him, and he resolved it within days of that. So he will be missed. Look forward to the future, whatever happens in that election. But I just want to thank Senator Perry personally and on behalf of the county for all his hard work for us. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
If I may stop you just a minute on that one. Senator Perry has served, I think, very well representing all of our whole county here. Would you also agree, Commissioners, maybe let's have a resolution from...
Yes, sir.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion, a second from Commissioner Mark to have a resolution from Craven County Board of Commissioners to Senator Jim Perry. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. All right.
That's all, sir.
Okay, any questions for the county manager from anybody? All right, if not, we go to Commissioner's report. Who'd like to begin today?
She got it.
All right, Commissioner Mitchell, you go first?
Nothing for today.
All right, Commissioner Howard.
Pass.
All right, do you want to go next?
Yeah, just a couple quick things. I serve on the ABC board, as you know, and we had a death of one of our board members, Kathleen Cook. She's known as Kat. She passed away last week, and she has been on the board for a few years, and it's a sad day for us. She had health problems that have been apparent for some time, and she was in the hospital and didn't make it. So my comment to the board will be we will need to appoint someone to complete her term at a future meeting, probably next month would be appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
And the only other thing I would say is, Jack, we talk about the quality of our employees, and I see these two young women up here today. Man, impressive. And then go to the deal in Raleigh and see Lieutenant Moses Winnings, and she's so impressive. We're blessed. We're blessed with a lot of talented and committed, dedicated folks. So that's my only comment.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioner Mark.
Yeah, all I have to report is I have a meeting on the 23rd of this month with Fairfield Harbor Board of Directors.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hunt.
I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Smith.
Nothing.
You have nothing. Okay. Just one quick statement. Our finance director is not with us today. We have our assistant finance director, Ms. Amanda White. Since we've talked about employees, Amanda probably don't get the spotlight oftentimes, but I work with her, interact with her a lot on different things, and we're very blessed to have you a part of our team here. So thank you for what you do, and you can tell the boss man anytime he wants to leave, you're welcome to come and be a part. So. All right, Commissioners, anything else to bring before the board today? Hearing nothing.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We stand adjourned.